Oh, man. Blessings to the East Coast and those that's on the East Coast and the Midwest right now. I appreciate you for tuning in with me. Those of you that's on Facebook with me, your friends with me and things like that, I want you to share this video, giving others the opportunity to see it as well. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Give me just a second. How's everybody doing? How's your day? And after this video, I'm going to open up the phone lines for everybody to call in. Hold on. Hey, baby, I see you. Yeah. Hold on. No, I haven't had the time. Negligent P. What's going on with it? Chris, man, what's going on, man? Blessings to you, man, and all of the princes, man, your sons. Blessings to New York. What's going on, Lavish? Peace and blessings to everybody. Make sure that you like this. Make sure that you share it. Sin Ful getting ready to tell you how stupid he was, how stupid he still is. And like I told you guys from the beginning of my videos until now, I always told you guys you was either going to learn from my wise words or from me being a proverb on what not to do. Matter of fact, this video is so important. Let me do one more thing. Not only do I want to give clarity, but you have those that been basically listening to a lot of people that don't even know me, have no knowledge of me. And it's come to a time where you have so-called men, males professing to be men, that have been gossiping like women. So it's good to hear it from the young P's mouth. So that's what we're getting ready to do. We're getting ready to kick knowledge, and I want all those to learn. Hold on. Yeah, let me share this. Then I'm about to get started. I didn't want nobody to have no excuse, because after this video, I'm going to open up the phone lines. And after I do my video speaking on my case and going live and answering questions, I'm going to bring Johnny Cash on, and he's going to speak live about his case and also answer questions. I know you guys been in my inbox talking about the slut walk and, you know what I mean, and everything, and you want me to talk about the funeral with Kanika, and I'm going to get to that. Maybe tonight, I ain't going to promise, but if not tonight, tomorrow. Thank you, Robin. Hold on. have that in handy. I think I show that. Now, let me say this. This is not to bash anybody or bring anybody down, but what I'm getting ready to do within this video and even in the next video to come has never been done. You know what I mean? What I'm getting ready to do is actually allow you guys to see all the stupid shit that I've done, you know what I mean, and the wise things that I didn't do, all right? And through it all, with me basically doing what I did, you know what I mean, I still, you know, didn't have to come out the way that I could have. God was still merciful to me. All right, but listen here. Back in 2007, those who've been paying attention to me know that's basically when I came into the lifestyle, in 2007. And, you know, basically, you know what I mean, in 2007, that's when I was starting. You had me and different other P's, man. You know, 2007 was cool. You know, in each person's era, you're going to have the older, you know, saying that, man, you know, the game is fucked up. But at that time in 2007, for me, you know what I mean, the game was beautiful, man. You know, but at the same particular time, I came up around a lot of misrepresentation and didn't have the information. And that's why, hold on. That's why, you know what I mean, I have to make known, you know, a lot of things. But back in 07, man, it was just live, you know what I mean? But even though I started in Vegas, I didn't stay in Vegas. I ended up going to Cali. Then after Cali, sitting over there going to New Orleans, where I was there for a while. So for a while, I was going from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. And because I'm going to speak about my loved ones later on. One of my greatest loved ones, he's no longer here. But he had some false information, and it's not his fault. But in the beginning, you know what I mean, I thought that basically in order to conduct yourself as a P and to get the recognition and the acknowledgement, you know what I mean, of a P, you know what I mean, you had to do certain things. You had to be deep. You know what I mean? You had to have a lot of hoes. So once I got that definition, I'm not speaking against that, you know what I mean, because that's still fly now. But hoes of a legal age, of 18 and older, hoes who are not only 18 and older, but 25, 30, whatever, with the mentality of an adult. For there are many 25 and 30-year-old females, you know what I mean, with the mentality of a teenager. I'll get into that later. But make a long story short, I wanted to be deep. You know what I mean? I used to tell, because I was never into that. I thought that if you only had one bitch, you know, like they used to be saying, if you got one hoe, you know, man, that's next to none and everything like that. But I wasn't looking at it just from a financial standpoint. I was looking at it as a glorification of the pimping, power of the pimping, power of me presiding over multiple women. You know what I mean? And plus I felt like I had, you know, my personality and, you know, my intellectual capabilities was just too big for me to just have one woman. You know, that's what the squares do. Boyfriends they got one girlfriend. They only held, you know what I mean, the one woman. If they get another woman, you know what I mean, majority of them, you know, things gonna be over. So a pimp gotta have hoes. I gotta have multiple women. So I had told my older partner at the time, you know what I mean, T-Mac, and I was around, you know what I mean, Freeze and different ones. And I was like, man, by the summertime, I'm going to be 10 deep. You know what I mean? I'm going to be 10 deep. And if I'm not 10 deep, I'm going to be more than 10 deep. You know what I mean? If I'm not 10 deep, it's because I'm 15 to 20 deep. But by the summertime of '08, nigga, I'm going to be deep, you know? The reason why I gave you guys the video prior, I wanted everybody to watch the video prior to this one so you can have an outstanding understanding of what's going on now. Because if you watched that video prior, you would have been able to see that I spoke on the case that I caught in March of 2008. That was the first time that I ever been arrested in my life. So, and those that watched it, you saw the fact that seen that I called a pandering. At first, they threw the pandering out and replaced it with living off the earnings of prostitution. So you got living off the earnings. I had living off the earnings of prostitution with that bride, robbery with that bride, and I had a domestic violence with that bride. So that's 3 cases. Those that watched the video prior to this one, you have an outstanding understanding of what I'm speaking on. So I got 3 cases pending already. We're going to fast forward to April of 2008 because like I said, in 2008, man, those that was in Vegas, yes, it was Operation Pimp. Yes, a lot of pimps went down, me included. Yes, a lot of pimps was getting sentenced and losing trial and things like that. But in 2008, what you got to understand is the game was being glamorized. Music has a big part of glamorizing the game. What people see on television or what they hear on the radio. And because of UGK was blowing up at the time, you had a lot of women who was coming to Vegas and actually giving the lifestyle a try, not just per se because of UGK, but the lifestyle was being glorified, to the highest degree. You know what I mean? So, in 2008, man, even though a lot of P's went down, but the level of prostitution was going up because it was being glamorized. Women was looking at that video and listening to the music from that album and things like that and bobbing their heads and things like that. And they was, a lot of them came down for a visitation and ended up making a motherfucking lifelong reservation in the location of Vegas simply because at that time prostitution was being promoted. The pimping was being promoted. Make sure that you like and share on this because I want everybody to see this. It's 113 people watching and only 59 likes. Stop disrespecting this game. Like this video and make sure that you share it because the things that I'm saying up in here, people need to hear. So with that being said, moving right along, I wanted to, have the most hoes and, young, energetic, not listening to nobody, arrogant, thought I knew it all, and a lot of older P's wanted to give me some knowledge here and there. But, at the age of 23 years old, I ain't want to hear nothing. I was listening, but I wasn't listening. And I wouldn't tell an older P, basically how, I wouldn't tell basically an older P my downfalls or my ignorance because I was afraid, just like many of you young P's, I was fearful of basically once I revealed my ignorance, a P might basically use his intelligence to knock me for everything that I was presiding over. So with that being said, I would abstain and refrain from, telling them anything, problems that I may have or anything that I didn't know about. So I didn't have no mentor. I didn't have no older P's. My life wasn't like the Mac movie. Every time I did something, an older P or somebody will show up, and give me some game. And that's a movie. So I was living by experiences. So at the age of 23 years old, when I caught remind you now, I already got 3 cases pending because of the March situation. Okay, at this time, within the 6 brides, I got a bride that's Ethiopian. She's basically from Detroit, speaking different languages, educated, graduated from the University of Illinois. Was still to this day one of the smartest brides that I've ever been with, that I've ever had. She got a lot of character flaws, but what bitch don't? But at the same particular time, the bitch can fly planes. She was very intelligent. But as far as her physical appearance, I was young, I was dumb, I was lustful, and, her physical appearance wasn't pleasing to my eyes, because I was used to a certain type. And she had been chasing me for a while. She had knowledge of me prior to the lifestyle. So a lot of women that don't have an opportunity to be with the man that they want to be with outside of the lifestyle of pimping and hoeing, because the bitch basically want to do some hoeing now, she got an opportunity to be with that man that she always wanted to be with, or that man that basically has the physicality, the physical appearance that she always wanted. Every guy that told her no in high school and college, she get the opportunity now to finally be with somebody that she considers to be attractive. So she had been after me for a while, so I'll tell you that's another video of how I knocked her. But I ended up getting the bride, right? So, I can't lie on her. She had a phenomenal personality. There were a lot of, there were a lot of basically, women that used to come to my family, they used to join simply because of her personality. No, she was not really the most attractive broad, my 6 to somebody else might be somebody else's 10. So you might see the bride and think she's attractive. I didn't really think she was attractive, but I was attentive to her simply because she had capabilities. There was a famine among the female participants of the lifestyle of pimping and hoeing. And her comprehension. I didn't have to put everything in simplicity for her to understand. Make a long story short, back in them days, I used to basically use her a lot of times because, I came through cutthroat. And what I mean by cutthroat, even some of the guys that was an inspiration to me in the beginning did a lot of sneaky underhand shit, to get under a broad of mine or something. So by me coming around a lot of heartless cutthroat niggas and shit, that's how my mind was. I conformed to that because I thought that was the mentality of a P. No matter what friend or who's fucking with me or, whatever P partner of mine, I'ma knock them. So I done knocked damn near all my P partners for a bride prior to me going to prison. So, prior to me, basically, you understand me, going to prison, yes, I used to sit up there and knock, knock damn near everybody. I explain later. But she basically started bringing different brides to me, even some of my partners' brides to me. And I was knocking, I'm having interviews left and right. Anybody that was in Vegas and motherfucking '08, nigga, it was a motherfucking floodgate, legions of brides. You know what I mean? So for every bride that was like, I don't want to be in the game no more, man, it was an innumerable amount that was basically joining damn near every day. So, I would tell her, I like the way you do things. I like your personality and things like that. Yeah, you're doing good. And that bitch fucked up. One day she said, I can knock more hoes than you. I'm like, no, you can't knock more hoes than me. You're incapable of doing that. You can't fuck with me in that area. I'm having interviews and damn near knocking bitches every other day. I'm firing more bitches in a week than a lot of these niggas is getting within the year. You can't fuck with me. She's like, yeah, but with your game and my personality, like, I'm doing this and that. So we kind of had like a, I don't want to say competition, but I had to show the bitch that, you can't outdo this pimping. So, it kept on going and she would bring different brides, and I would sit up there and knock brides. And, after I would leave the Las Vegas Strip, after I leave Las Vegas Boulevard, I would instantly either go to the Fremont Experience, or I would go to the Greyhound, or I'm going to go to the DTC, or after the DTC, I'm going to go to the airport. That was my normal routine after leaving Las Vegas Boulevard. I'm either going to hit, sometime I hit the Boulevard Mall, but I'm going to either go to the Greyhound. After the Greyhound, I'm going to hit the Experience. Then after the Experience, I'm going to go to the DTC. After the DTC, I'm going to go to the airport. The DTC was the bus station. And they still got it down, but it's not, it wasn't like it was in 07, 08. It's 149 people watching. We got to bring more people in here. Those that just joined in, share this video. I want everybody to see. You know what I mean? Share it. By all means, like. It's only 103 likes. It's 152 people watching. Come on. But, you know what I mean? Hold on. But, at that time, and I see somebody say that was dumb of it. Yeah, it was. But, okay, we sitting over there chopping it up. Like I said, we had a little, I don't want to call it competition because pimps don't be in competition with hoes. But I had to show this bitch that you can't knock more bitches than me. But anyway, the bitch sit up there and we at the DTC. So once we at the DTC, the bus station, we hit the bus station. I see this nice little dark broad that I had been seeing on the strip, you know what I mean, every now and then. So I get at the broad, you know what I mean, I'm at the broad and everything like that. And once I sit up there and I get at the broad, we exchange information, you know what I mean, so I can have a conversation later on. And the broad that I had brought, because like I told you, a lot of times when I used to go to places, I used to sometimes go with different broads. Now, all of this shit that I'm saying could have been prevented if I would have had a mentor, an older P that I was listening to. And there were a lot of older Ps that wanted to be a blessing to me, but young, egotistical, nobody could tell me nothing, and had only been in the game at that time in 10 months. But I felt like my 10 months was outdoing a lot of niggas 10 and 15 and 20 years, and that wasn't true. You have to listen. You got to be swift to hear and slow to speak. Experience had to teach me that. So, you know what I mean? Make a long story short, she was over there talking to some little light-skinned broad, right? So she talking to basically the little light-skinned broad, and you know what I mean, the little light-skinned broad, I see she got a little body on her, she looking cool, and as I'm looking at her, you know what I mean, I see, you know, the physical, but at that time, I didn't know, you know what I mean, that she was professing to be in the game, because she wasn't. From the conversation that the bitch came back, I ain't gonna say the bitch name because I don't want to make her famous, but the bitch ended up sitting up there coming to me. She's like, yeah, I ended up got her number. She said she had been seeing you. Anybody that really know me know that I got a brother in Vegas that's a known blood. He's not a pimp, ain't got one pimp bone in his body. You know, bro probably gonna end up seeing this, but you know, he ain't got one pimp bone in his body. But a lot of people knew me through my brother. You know what I mean? Through him. He was gangbanging. But so she already seen me before. She's like, yeah, you know what I mean? I know such and such brother. I know he's a pimp. He a P. So they exchanged information. And I ended up calling basically my other little broads. We go around Valley View and Twain. I forgot the name of the restaurant, man. It was the name of a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant that we all went to. And, you know, little broads was calling me, talking about they hungry. They just woke up and shit. So I'm about to feed these bitches and send them out the door. Because that's the way I used to do things. Back in the day, you know, I had under a year. But I used to, if a bitch didn't make enough money on the strip, immediately she would go to Boulder Highway. And a lot of y'all was like, man, Boulder Highway a crackhead track. Listen, man, back in 07 and 08, you know what I mean? A lot of times I'd have made more money off of Boulder Highway than I had made on the strip at that time. But at the same time, I didn't have the information, you know, that I have now. You know, keep in mind, I'm 23 and I only basically been in the game 10 months and I ain't got no mentor. I'm just on my own experience. So I sent a broad to Boulder Highway after the strip. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I'm about to feed these bitches and they don't even know. They about to go right now because my money wasn't right, you know, and plus I'm trying to compete against all the other Ps. I don't even want to bring certain Ps because I didn't get in touch with them to let them know that I was going to do this, so I don't want to mention their name if they don't want to make it known. But it was certain Ps in 07 and 08 that you don't see nowadays. And they was fly, young Ps, you know, was having money. You had this one young P, I ain't going to say his name, from New York. Me and Freeze loved him. You know what I mean? He was a true P at heart. He got locked up. He ain't been the same ever since, man. He squared up, you know what I mean? But at that time, before he had got locked up, he was down and about it, having broads and everything, man. It was, so we would go out, you know, and go to the mall, and sometimes, you know, my other partner's traps, you know what I mean, was bigger than the trap that I had, you know, and it made me feel some type of way. Because even though I loved my niggas in my heart and in my mind, which was the truth, I knew that I had more pimping than my niggas. So I'm supposed to be doing better than everybody. I'm supposed to have more hoes, everything. So, and this is the mindset of a young P. A lot of times we'll spend all we got to make it seem like we got it like that, trying to keep up with the Joneses. And I was trying to keep up with the Joneses, man, because we would fall in the mall. And some of my P partners, man, was spinning racks like, yeah, every day. And you know what I'm saying? And it would be nothing. You know what I mean? And I was like, man, I got to sit up there and get my game up. No, that's not. You don't understand the game. There ain't no jealousy. That's you supposed to be around pimps that's pimping. That's what's wrong now. If your friends, if the partners that you around, if they too comfortable, ain't knocking no bitch, ain't nobody knocking different niggas and shit like that. Everybody within your so-called crew ain't having money. You need to upgrade your crew, man. You know what I mean? No, that ain't jealousy. You supposed to have somebody bringing that spirit of competition around, man. You know, we love each other, but at the same time, like, hey, bro, when you gonna pimp, man? Come on. That's how it's supposed to go. No, you know what I mean? Pimp, ain't no... Jealousy is a cheap perfume that the little girls wear, man. That don't smell right on no pimps. Pimps don't wear cheap perfume called jealousy. Don't insult us pimping like that. But yeah, man, you know what I mean? As far as moving right along, I had to sit up there, you know what I mean? And I had to be the best, baby. I got to have more bras. So, you know, at this time, freeze too, I got to be real. You know what I mean? We would go, man, sometime 4 to 5 days with no sleep because it felt like once you sleep, you know what I mean, that you was going to sit up there, man, and you was going to miss out on that bitch that you was sweating all motherfucking night and a sucker, you know, the weed man, game banger, a stranger to the game was it going to end up gaining that bitch, you know what I mean? And you was going to be fucked up, you know? Like, damn, I should have stayed up. So a lot of times my eyes, a lot of people thought that I smoked weed, but I had never been high. But a lot of people used to look at my eyes and think that I was smoking weed. And the truth was I wasn't smoking weed. It's just that I had been up and I wasn't trying to sleep. And my eyes would be bloodshot red from staying up because all I wanted to do was pimp. I was possessed by the spirit of pimping. That's it. You know what I mean? All I needed was, you know, more knowledge, but at the same time, I ain't putting the fault on nobody. It's my fault. So, okay, check it out. At that time, we go, I told you I was calling the brides to go to the Chinese food restaurant to meet up with the brides. So we go up to the little Chinese food restaurant and the bitch basically sit up there and get the bitch that I told you about to get all the degrees, intelligent, and fly planes and all that shit. She got a call from the little light-skinned bride that she met, you know what I mean, at the DTC. So, you know what I mean, the bride was like, where y'all at? You know, I want to fuck with you. Now, you know, it was something that had went off within me. You know, that ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, damn, you know, I ain't even had a chance to talk to that bride. But I ain't gonna lie, sometime it would be like that. A bride will see a cat, you know what I mean, and really didn't even have no words with him yet. And she wanted to fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? And they was already texting. And the bitch, she had been around me. You know what I mean? So she thought that she was deadly because she was around Sin Ful The P. Because even though my game wasn't what it is now at that time, you know, I thought I knew something, but I didn't. But, okay, she said she wanted to fuck with me. So I said, tell her the Chinese food restaurant. I'm trying to remember the name of the restaurant. But she ended up coming to the restaurant. Those that's in Vegas, man, if you've been around that Valley View and that Twain, man, if you know that Chinese food restaurant, say it in the comment section. But anyway, we at the restaurant, and I'm sitting down with the little brides. And once I'm around, you know what I mean, the bras and things, you know what I mean, we eating. And like I said, she said she wanted to fuck with me. I told her to come through. The bride, the little light-skinned bride from the bus station ended up coming to the Chinese food restaurant. You know what I mean? And when she came, you know, she had came and, you know, I was looking at her physical, you know, and she had said that, you know what I mean, that she was 19 years old. You know what I mean? That's what she said. But that wasn't true. Okay, she sit down, and that's why I say another people been begging for me to do the interview, and I told you the interview video gonna be so long because that interview video is so important. It's a lot of P's doing 20 and 30 years simply because they didn't interview properly. Negligent. Okay? So, you know what I mean? We sitting over there chopping it up, you know what I mean? And you said, I need ID. Yeah, see, I'm about to get to that. And she said, you know what I mean, that, you know, she's 19, you know, because at first, you know, my bride had told me that she was just, you know, a cute little square that, you know, she was going to end up bringing. But all of a sudden, she come out of a bag saying that the first time that she had got down was when she was 11 years old with her mama. And she revealed at that time, I didn't know that, she said that she was basically doing some prostituting, you know what I mean, up in Pahrump. And she said in Pahrump, it's legal to prostitute. You know, but I was still fucked up, just like, because it kind of reminded me of another story of another bride telling me the first time she did something was with her father, and she was 5, and this bride telling me, you know what I mean, that her first date was at 11 and she was with her mom. And, you know, my background wasn't like that. Anybody that know me know that, you know, even though I was doing little things that I thought I was bad enough to do in the streets, but I come out of, you know, church. My mom, you know what I mean, and my best friend was my grandmother and everything like that. So, you know, by me having a mother and a grandmother and everything like that, and my relationship, I just couldn't see no mother going on a date with her 11-year-old child. So mentally, of course, I had to keep my countenance up, my appearance up, you know what I mean, in front of them. But I was fucked up. You know, you did a date at 11? So, okay, she said, yeah, you know what I mean, I'm a real go-getter, and she was talking all the little hoe talk, and she pulled out basically her little ID. Me being so green, thought that I had all the game in the world, just like a lot of young peas. I looked at the ID, I see that it said that she's 19 years old. You know what I mean? Okay, you 19, I'm looking at the ass, I'm looking at the titties, and I'm thinking that she's 19 years old. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ended up getting a call at the time from my partner. My partner hit me and said, Sin, where you at? You know what I mean? Come campaign with me, baby. Come fuck with me. I said, what's going on? Because I'm with my brides right now. He said, man, I'm over here, man. I'm getting all this motherfucking action, man. I want you to sit up there, man, and come sit up there, you know, and fuck with me. And I was like, well, damn, they really loose like that? He said, P, if you come down here, you going to end up knocking. You know what I mean? Just because of the type of nigga you is, P, if you come down here. So I told them, you know what I mean, I'm about to leave. And I ain't had no bottom bitch. I ain't believing that. I never did. But she was like, I can't lie, she was intelligent. So I told the little bride, I said, make sure you take them back, you know, and go to the room and, you know, go through some clothes or something, man, you know what I mean, and see what this bride got. Because she had on something, but it wasn't whole attire. So I was like, man, you know what I mean, get her some heels and everything like that, man, and fix her up, man, and, you know, let her go outside and everything like that. I hope all y'all listening so you can hear the stupid shit that I've done. I have not investigated this bride. I haven't properly interviewed this bride. I have not asked the proper questions with this bride. I'm accepting the fact she given 19, she's saying 19 years old, and I just looked at the ID and just accepted it as if it was thus said the Lord, the irrefutable truth, and walked away as if God told me that she was 19 just because I seen the ID, not noticing that the motherfucking ID is from California, the home of fake IDs, and I just leave like everything is cool. You know what I mean? Because, man, I'm like, man, I'm doing good. I got different brides on my phone line. Man, I'm about to be deep as a motherfucker, man. You know what I mean? Sin Ful The P. And I meet up with my nigga, and it was just like he said. You know what I mean? A few little, you know, little brides. You know, one was talking about she a renegade and shit like that. We ended up chopping it up. So I was like, man, I'm getting ready to have, you know, more bitches, man. I'm going to be 10 deep before the summer even start, nigga. I might even be 20, nigga. I'm about to be Willie motherfucking Dynamite up in this Vegas, man. These niggas can't fuck with me. And that's my mentality at the time. But pride come before a fall. Warning come before destructions. You know what I mean? And my mother, my grandmother was sitting up there, of course, you know, calling and things like that. You know, you ain't listening to them. I ain't listening to no older P's, none of that, man. I'm 23 years old, going on eternity, and can't nobody telling me nothing, man. Like, man, I'm about to be so motherfucking deep, nigga. I'm about to have more hoes that feel more motherfucking slim, nigga. I got the best mouthpiece, the best personality. Nobody can fuck with me. Foolish. Foolish and brutish. Have not interviewed this girl. Looked at the ID, bam, and just thought that was, and left. Okay? So they go back, you know what I mean? They putting on the tire, you know what I mean? And putting on hoe gear and all that stuff. I've been kicking it with him, getting at these broads, you know what I mean? Damn near almost like because the motion of discovery, that's one thing. If you read your motion of discovery like that, you know what I mean? It was about 1 hour and 27 minutes that I had called her to see what was going on. I said, what's happening over there? Oh, we getting ready to go out. You know what I mean? Because, when I had knocked a new bride, whenever I would get a new bride, I'm going to set her down on the track. I wouldn't take her to the casino. You know what I'm saying? I'm either, if I'm going to stay in Vegas, I'm going to take her to Boulder Highway. I'm going to take her to Tropicana. You know what I mean? Different areas. And people are like, P, that's too much game. It's known. These are known areas, nigga. That ain't no revelation. It's you squares. But anyway, I'm going to take her to the Blade, or I'm going to go to California. That was my mindset. If I get a new bride, I ain't about to send her to the Strip. So I let her, now I hope y'all paying attention. I'm letting this hoe do a pimp's job, okay? This bitch is interviewing, supposedly this bitch. It's not her fault, because it wasn't her motherfucking job to begin with. That was my job. I didn't do my job. I didn't sow right. That's why I didn't reap right. I was an idiot. I was stupid. I get into that. So anyway, I didn't want to send them to the Blaze. So all of them end up going to Boulder Highway. You know what I mean? And they end up going to Boulder. And at that time, anybody knew anything about 07, 08, you know what I mean, that ever played Boulder around 07, 08, yeah, niggas was checking over G-balls and shit, you know what I'm saying, over Boulder, having them bras down. A lot of them niggas, they didn't check no real money off the Blade because they had the Beta P situation going on. They ain't believe in keeping the brow down, you know what I mean, 12 and 14, sometimes 17 hours within the motherfucking day. You know what I'm saying? When you really on the track, that's what you about. But, so they basically touched down, you know what I mean? I tell her to give the little bride my number, you know what I mean? Because she didn't even have my number. I ain't sat down with this bride. I ain't got this bride information. I didn't know that bride government name. I didn't know nothing about her. All I knew was for her from the DTC and from the Chinese restaurant, and also, no. Matter of fact, 3. Because, the DTC, the Chinese restaurant, and basically, you understand me, the hotel. I did come back after kicking it with the homie, and I told him to wait because I wanted to sit up there and go get my other phone. I was so ghetto. Everybody know this is an old story because the BlackBerry was like the phone of all phones at the time. So I have my little BlackBerry, and I had to run back to the room to sit up there and go get my other phone because this wasn't charging. Plus, I'm trying to have this new bride that my P partner introduced me to because she light skinned, she thick, and I ain't gonna lie, I can tell it all. I gotta tell it all. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about I'm knocking her, but at the same time thinking about how fine she is and how thick she is and how when she chews up, when it finally that time, how I'm about to fuck the shit out of her. I gotta give you the whole 9 now. So I'm trying to hurry up, get this phone, hurry up and get back. Okay, yeah, what's up? Okay, yeah. And I used to do shit like that. I used to pray with my hoes. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even pray with them at that time. It's like, you ain't even gonna pray? I was like, I gotta go because it's this bitch, she trying to sit up there, you know what I mean, and fuck with me. I gotta go. So, you know what I mean, I'm gone. You know what I mean? Left. Having interviewed this girl, saw how cool she looked in the whole gear. I did see that, but I didn't even know her government name. I didn't interview, I ain't done none of that. Left. So they ended up going to Boulder by themselves. I didn't sit up there, you know what I mean, and sit her down. You know what I mean? I didn't do the proper things. So with that being said, you know what I mean, I sit up there and I leave. I end up leaving with him, and now I'm by myself. I check in and I say, what's going on? You know what I mean? It's kind of slow right now. Woo. You know what I mean? We only got out here, bitch, whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm hitting everybody else. What's going on? I didn't even tell the bride to separate herself from everybody else. I'm already on the Las Vegas Strip trying to meet up. I ain't gonna even say my partner name. Trying to meet up, you know what I mean, with one of my partners and shit. Now I'm about to go to the Strip while they all the way, you know, on Boulder. So I'm going over there. Then, you know what I mean, hits me back, then the other one hit me back, then the other one hit me back, but I still have not talked to the little light-skinned bride at the DTC. Haven't interviewed, haven't given her no instructions, none of that. She ends up getting arrested, okay? When she got arrested, she basically goes to, they took her to CCDC. The police looked at her physical appearance, they looked at the ID, and just like me, didn't interview the bride right, they arrested her just like an adult. So she goes to CCDC, and see, if I would have known, you know, what I know now as far as my knowledge of the law, I would have did more. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, they fucked up. They fucked up big time. And they wanted to fuck me, but they fucked themselves out of fucking me over. But, yeah, she was in there. You know what I mean? Come on now. It's 224 people watching. It's 155 likes. Get them likes up. Get them shares up. I told you this is too important of a video. You know what I mean? For just 229 people. Share this. Like this. Get as many people as we can. There's too much vital information within this video. So they arrest her. She comes in just like an adult. Okay? So when she comes in basically like an adult, they didn't sit up there, you know what I mean? And the police wasn't that smart, you know, like they try to make themselves to be. But the only reason why they found out that this girl who said that she was 19 was really 14, going on 15 years old, is because she told the CO that she was tired of being here and I don't want to be around, I don't want to be in here no more. I'm really 14. I'm not 19 years old. So once the CO had made a call, they end up basically coming in. They take her out. You know what I mean? Because they had already found out, you know what I mean, this girl, okay, now they didn't found out this girl 14. Now they gonna sit down with her. Now they found out that they got a minor in here. So they got to do things like they always do. When they do make a mistake, they got to hurry up and cover up their tracks. Yeah, but the girl was 14 when she was arrested. She was going on 15, but she was 14 when she got arrested. So, okay, they trying to hurry up, you know what I mean, and cover up their tracks, get the paperwork and everything like that. Okay, this is another way that they fucked up. They have multiple interviews with the bride. I don't want to sit up there because it's been a while since I read my motion, and then I had all the information basically from my investigator. But it was either they interviewed this girl, man, damn near like 9 times, 8 or 9 times. You know what I mean? They didn't interview her. When you interview a minor, there's supposed to be a legal guardian present. They're not supposed to interview this minor without basically having a legal guardian present. They did not have one legal guardian present when they interviewed this girl. So, you know what I mean? They fucked up with even that. And you know what I mean? By them fucking up, you know what I mean, with that, you already know I'm gonna end up getting into it. But they ended up asking her questions, and they were able to coach her to say things, you know what I mean, that she didn't want to say, and then certain things that she didn't want to say, but when they caught me, they sat up there and gave allegations to keep my bail in the heavens. So I couldn't bail out. So, okay, this is what happens. She done got arrested, you know what I mean? But at that time, I didn't have the opportunity to communicate with her yet. So I didn't hit the main bride, another little bride. I'm like, what's going on? We haven't heard from her. We ain't seen her, you know. And the other bitch was like, I think that she done blew. She done blew up, seeing she gone. You know what I mean? She wasn't about it. She wasn't really down like that. You know what I mean? She was gone. But even though they saying that the bride is gone, and I didn't, my green dumbass, you know, doing all of this stupid shit, I was like, no, you know what I mean? No, you know what I mean? I was like, no, you know, I just got to keep it 100. You know, I didn't think that that bitch basically, you know what I mean, knew what she was talking about. that girl didn't blow up. You know what I mean? Nah, she didn't blow up. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I was like, nah, nah. So I ended up talking to my P partner. Then I sit up there, end up talking to P. I end up talking to Free, different ones. You know what I mean? Freeze, I know he don't care about me saying his name. If I don't consent with you, I ain't gonna say your name in my video. But you know what I mean? I was like, I just had an uneasy feeling, man. I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I was like, did she blow up? I was like, because in my mind, like, she was, you know, looking happy. But due to the fact that I done had different ones blow up, I started going along with my night. Top of the morning come, you know, man, I keep going. You know what I'm saying? And as the days keep progressing, now from that time period that she had got arrested, okay, in the time period that I got arrested, this was almost like a damn near 80 hour, but it was like 79 hours. I forgot the exact minutes. So basically 3 days and some change, okay? She is basically out of CCDC. They take her out of there. They interviewing her in the whole nine. But I still haven't heard from her. So now, by me not hearing from her, by me having broads before then that I had, you know, for a few days or a week or whatever, and they blowed or whatever, you know what I mean? I'm thinking that this is another situation that basically that a broad just blew. So now, okay, I'm gone. You know what I mean? I keep on going. You know, so with that being said, you know what I mean? I kept on continuing, but I was still like, you know, but I kept going. You know that feeling that you get. Each convict, you know, it's a feeling. But even before you get locked up, the Spirit of God will deal with you. You know what I mean? And man, just to keep that 100. So okay, we keep going. Okay, like around the third day, I didn't tell you about the other little bride, but she was the youngest little bride that I had within the family at that time. She was 19. She was 19 years old. You know what I mean? Everybody else is like 23, 24, 22. You know what I mean? So as time basically progresses on, you know what I mean? Because I had told P, and P was like, you know what I mean? What happened to that little bride that you were telling me about? Oh man, you know what I mean? I went to go sit up there and go chill with P. I got a line. You know what I mean? I had got this other little bride, you know what I mean, at the DTC. You know what I mean? And by me sitting over there chopping it up with the little bride at the DTC, you know what I mean? Everything going well. He said, warning come before destruction. Pay attention. I sit up there and I was like, yeah. He like, did you interview her? You know what I'm saying? You went over everything? I'm like, yeah, nigga, you know I do. But no. You know what I mean? No. Didn't even know the government name of the bride. No. So, make a long story short, this is like the third day, fast forwarded along. I come back to the room, all right? I come back to the little room, and this is at the Plaza Hotel. Anybody know the Plaza? The Plaza Hotel is right across the street from the Fremont Experience, okay? So I sit up there, I come back, you know what I mean, to the Plaza. You know, I'm staying at the Plaza at the time. I come up in there, you know what I mean, ain't nothing been said, wasn't no strange looks or anything, didn't no voice come out of the heavens and be like, Sin, they about to arrest your ass. Run, nigga. Wasn't none of that. But I come to the room, I was already going off on the little bride that I told you about that was, you know, educated and smart and all that shit. You know, me and her at this time, you know what I mean, I wasn't really feeling her, you know what I mean, at this time. Fast forward along, we get into an argument. We get into a confrontation. And not only did I go off on the bitch, but I went off on her in front of other brides. Keep in mind now, remember what I told you. I wasn't attracted to her. Typical young, dumb nigga, you know what I mean, just getting in the game. By me not being attracted to her, I wasn't fucking her. And to this day, I've never stuck my dick in that main bride that I told you about, the little Ethiopian. Never had no sex with her. But I was having sex with every other bride within the family. Okay? That's a problem right there, because one thing I had to come to the realization of, even though bitches be talking all that hoe talk, at the end of the day, these are still women. And I forgot that. So, because she wasn't attractive on the eyes and things like that, I break her, joke with her here and there, little laughs here and there, but, I wouldn't really spend no time. And my older P partner, T-Mac, which I'll tell later, T ended up, getting me for the bride, while I was locked up and shit. But, T sat up there, and told me, man, he was like, you got to spend time, man. You got to spend time with that bride. You know what I'm saying? That's your bride, nigga. That bitch be down. She be bringing brides to you. But, I was sitting over there treating myself like, I was God. And I ain't had to listen to nobody. And I'm like, man, she gonna do what she do and everything. He told me, he was telling me some real nigga shit. He said, man, you need to grab that bitch by her hair, nigga. You need to fuck the dog shit out of her. And you need to spend time with her and all. I'm like, man, I ain't about to do all that with that ugly ass bitch. Hell motherfucking no, I ain't about to do all that. I like what she doing for me, but man, my dick ain't getting up for her, man. I ain't into that. You know what I mean? He said, but Sin, you spending time, you fucking every other bitch, in your family, nigga. You know what I mean? What are you doing? You know what I mean? So I was like, man, I ain't about to do all that. Now, remind you, now I told you that I haven't fucked her. You know what I mean? No sex. No sexual nothing. Fast forwarding along, you know what I mean? Damn, was she that ugly? No, it wasn't that. It was just that, at that time, man, I didn't really have the correct definition and vision of things and the right conduct on how a P was supposed to conduct themselves. And, I just didn't want to fuck, stupid, dumb. I'm telling you guys, listen, Sin Ful The P is not perfect the P. And I don't want to give you that image. And hopefully after this video, you niggas will stop getting in my inbox talking to me like I'm some god or something. Because a lot of knowledge and wisdom that I have it because of all the dumbass shit that I've done in my life. So let me make that plain. But yeah, man, I went off on her and she was sitting over there talking about, yeah, you don't spend no time with me and you sitting over there fucking on bitches that ain't even bringing half of what I'm bringing in. You know what I mean? They not even going hard like me and you don't even spend no time. And I said some of the worst shit that you could say to a hoe. I said some of the dumbest shit that you could say to a hoe. I was like, bitch, and I ain't never gonna fuck you. I don't wanna fuck your ugly, handsome ass, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Even if I sit up there and jagged off, bitch, and got on some motherfucking Viagra, bitch, by the grace of God, bitch, my dick wouldn't be able to stand tall for your ugly ass, bitch. Hell motherfucking no, bitch, you got me fucked up. You know what I mean? My dick is controlled by the spirit of flyness, and my dick don't get erected for you. And I've had, when I said this shit, other bitches laughing. And it sounds funny, everybody laughing now, but that wasn't funny. That was stupid. That was unwise. Sin Ful was stupid. Sin Ful was dumb. Everybody laughing. After you get your laugh and giggle, Philip Gilmore was stupid. Sin Ful The P was stupid. That was dumb. And I'm going to show you how dumb it is, because everybody, and I'm glad everybody laughing now. Watch this. Because I'm about to turn your laugh into a goddamn. So I said this. I'm roasting her, right? Just went off on her. I lied to you not. Less than 5 minutes after me roasting her and going off on her, you know what I'm saying, in front of, basically, you understand me? You don't never do that. You'll never roast no hoe like the way that I roasted in front of another hoe or other hoes, and you saying shit like, I'm not never gonna fuck you, and unless you really want to be knocked or you want that bitch to blow up or whatever. But that wasn't funny, man. That was the best definition of stupid and foolish. I'm trying to show you how dumb and ignorant that I was to the game and how foolish I was, so you don't have to be foolish like Sin Ful The P. You could be that wise, intelligent P, and you don't have to be dumb like my dumb ass. So, less than 5 minutes, y'all. Remember what the older P told me, what I needed to do. Didn't listen. All right? Less than 5 minutes, phone call rings. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Hello? Yes, Mr. Gilmore, I wanted to know, was you going to did you need any towels or anything? Did you need any towels? Because right now we got, the housekeepers, walking up and down and, they got towels. Did you need any towels, Mr. Gilmore? And I said, no. I don't need no towels. No. Oh, okay. Just checking. So when she did that, instantly, I knew, it was all wrong, man. If you ever heard, because, during that time, it was a very popular song. If you ever listened to the American Gangster soundtrack, you know what I mean? Once instantly, all I heard was, I think it's called I Never Should Have Did That. Damn, I'm falling. I think it's called Falling. And that's exactly what I was doing, falling. I never should have did that. You know what I mean? Instantly, nigga, that came on. And nigga, when I tell you, I knew something, I'm trying to get the fuck on, I put my motherfucking shoes on instantly. Boy, my heart beating like a motherfucker. Who is it? It's Metro Police. Open the door. Instantly, I sat up there and I opened up the door. When I opened up the door, nigga, when I tell you they came up in that room, nigga, with shotguns, you know what I mean, pointed at me and threw my motherfucking ass to the ground and had because I had my little hat on, my hat, you know what I mean, flew, and they had the motherfucking shotguns to my head. Don't move! Don't move! You know what I mean? And they hollering and screaming. And instantly in my mind, I was like, because I knew after that phone call, it was a motherfucking setup. Because, bitch, I didn't call you and ask for no damn towels. You know what I'm saying? But when they came in with the shotguns, I thought to myself that this got to be for somebody else. Maybe they think that, I done committed a murder or I'm some king drug pen or something like that. And I got drugs, everywhere and anywhere and shit like that. So this got to be for somebody else, man. You know what I mean? Don't move. They still got the motherfucking gun to my head. The gun to my head. So I said, this can't be for no pimping. You know what I mean? This can't be for no pimping. This got to be for a murder. This got to be for something. Maybe I look like somebody. Maybe there's another handsome motherfucker around here. That's what I'm thinking. So they did the normal things. They sat up there and they separated me. They separated me from basically the broads. Keep in mind that I just had a verbal confrontation. I just got through roasting that bitch. Okay? The bitch that I just got through roasting, they separated her from me. Okay? So they separated her from me. They separated everybody from me. They take me over there and, they didn't pick me up by now. And they sitting over there telling, they like, yeah, good little pimp suit. So, okay, even though he said good little pimp suit, he still ain't really said nothing about this pimping, man. It can't be about no pimping, man, because y'all done came up in here with the green suits. Y'all got the shotguns. This can't be about no pimping, man. Can't be. And I came not armed, man. I came, like my hands like that. So this can't be about no pimping, man. This got to be about a motherfucking murder. So that's what I'm thinking, right? So they separated. But, man, I already knew. Any real nigga, you just common sense. I knew that this bitch was getting ready to tell on me. I had just sat up there and got into it with you. And what I said, and you was laughed at, you know what I mean, from what I said, yeah, you getting ready to tell on me. And she did exactly that. They said, you know what I mean, what connection do you have with him? He's my pimp. So basically now, everybody else, they didn't, I don't want to make nobody famous, but they stood tall. But the bride that I just roasted, she sat up there and, he's my pimp. So they sit up there, and took me, they took me basically, put me in the car. And I'm fucked up. I'm fucked up by everything. Because I never thought that something like that would happen to me. Like, man, I'm a good person. I'm a good nigga. I'm a good P. All I want to do is pimp. Fuck I'm doing in the back of this police car. This shit shouldn't be against the law any motherfucking way. Why am I even here? They putting shotguns to my head. Like, man, what the fuck is going on? So the officer says in the passenger seat, he said, I've been seeing you around. I would think that you was more intelligent than this. I said, what are you talking about? He said, oh, man, I done seen you on the strip, all the time, And you just seem a lot smarter than a lot of them little pimp dudes. I don't like, the lifestyle. I think you niggas need to sit up there and, get a job. But, yeah, you were always different than all the other guys. You dress different. And that's how I knew that he knew what he was talking about. He said, your little friend, the little friend that be with you, he be dressed up too. You guys just seem a lot smarter than everybody else, man. Man, I said, so what am I being taken to jail for? I don't understand this. Oh man, you got a pimping and pandering case. So when he said I got a pimping and pandering case, those that watched the video prior to this video, I'm thinking that basically that he talking about the 3 cases prior to this whole little, situation. I'm thinking he talking about the bitch that basically that had me arrested in March. I'm thinking it's that situation. So when I found out that it was pertaining to that, I'm like, man, what this bitch done, said something out of her mouth again? Man, it is what it is. And keep in mind, I'm 23 years old. Been in the game now for 10 months. No mentor, no nothing, just on my own. But at the same particular time, still my fault. You should have known better. Had a fake ID, still my fault. She said she was 19, still my fault. So, because that's just the type of family that I come from, on my father's side, of course, you got nothing but gangsters and, all that shit. But on my mother's side, teachers, preachers, politicians, you know what I'm saying? A few hoes here and there, a few people that thought they were players. But, some real, people in the high, echelon in life and all that shit. So my family was going to be very judgmental. I already know what was coming up. So it's still my fault. You know what I mean? A real leader, regardless of who tell on you or whatever, it's still your fault. You know what I mean? You have to have the mentality of that. Even with that broad telling on me, I never sat up there and said that I did time because she sat up there and told on me. No, it's because I was stupid, foolish, and brutish. You know what I mean? Yeah, she did what she did, but I wouldn't even give a bitch that much power to say that I lost time in my life because of something you did. No. I lost time in my life for something that I didn't do. So it's a difference from some say miss pimping. I'm going to tell you no pimping. There was no pimping in that. So, okay, we end up going to CCDC. I'm disgusted. Every time I come to CCDC, it's a feeling of failure that comes over me. It's a spirit of failure that comes over me. Every time I see this place, I see the police officers, I see these people, it's a spirit of failure. I feel disgusted. And I'm seeing different people that I know from the strip. You know what I mean? They seeing me and they like, man, what you doing here? You know what I mean? Woo, 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 man, I see you every night. Woo, woo, woo. And they trying to have all these conversations. But I'm feeling down, man. I hate CCDC with a passion, man. I hate being there. But evidently, you know, not really if you don't sharpen up your game. Like I keep saying, if you keep going to jail, you know what I mean? That means that the police do their job better than you. That means the police got more game than you. And at that time, the police had more game than me. They were smarter than me. And that's why my ass was there. So, you know, the detectives finally called me in. Like I told y'all, man, there's too much vital information going on in this video, man. It's 250 people watching. It's only 211 likes. Share this. Those that's connected on Facebook, share this video. I want as many, especially young people, to see this video as they can, man. This is to me, this is one of my most important videos ever. You know, so by all means, like this, share this. And I'm opening up the phone lines. Anybody that had a similar situation, or maybe you want to say something positive or negative, by all means, whatever, call in. So now I'm in the room with the detectives. The detectives sit up there and they sit me down. And what's going on, Sin Ful The P? And I get quiet on it, you know, because I don't know who Sin Ful The P is. I don't want to acknowledge nothing. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Sin Ful The P, man? Talk to us, man. You know, man, give us, you know how, man, anybody that ever had any dealings with Metro, come on, man, give us some of that pimp game, man. Hey, I gotta say, man, that hat that you had on with your little blue suit, man, with your little turquoise shoes, oh, man, you was styling, you know? So give us some of that pimp game, man. Tell us, man. You know, talk to us. And I'm being quiet, man, because I really don't want to be here, man, and just sitting here with these motherfuckers. This shit got me sick to my motherfucking stomach, man. And they was like, man, don't be upset. You know, we take down all the pimps. Yeah, we done took down all of the great ones. You know, and plus we got a big operation. Yeah. You guys are getting taken down this year, 2008. Yeah, you're going down, you know. And we're going to put your bail so far up in the heavens, nobody's going to bail you out. So you're going to be in the county for a long time. You know, so whoever you need to call to get those little zoom and whams on your books, for the money for the zooms and whams, that's what you need to do, because you're going to be in the county for a while. And I'm discussing, I'm just listening. So they said, because I'm not going to say her government name, I'm make her famous. They said, do you know such and such? They say the name. And I say, I'm just giving a blank look. They said, do you know her? I'm like, man, I don't know her. You know what I mean? They said, hey, well, what about Star? You know Star, don't you? Light skin, pretty, you know what I mean? Got the little big ass. When did you guys hook up? And first of all, anybody know, man, you know what I mean? When you from Chicago and shit like that, you're not about to manipulate me out some information and all that shit. So, they was like, look, come on, man, talk to us. You know about her. I was like, man, I don't know what you're talking about, man. You know what I mean? I really don't even like the fact that you guys are speaking to me the way that you're speaking to me. And see, that's now that you've opened your mouth and you told me who you were talking about, you didn't expose your hand. So there's no need for me to talk. Only thing I need to be talking to is a lawyer, and I know not that you can talk that much with him. I know that much. You know, my dumb ass at least knew that. So they was like, come on, you don't want to talk? Come on, man, listen. You're going to be facing a lot of charges. A lot of charges, okay? Some big-time charges. And you can cut that out because from what we were told, you know what I mean? Because, you know, your other girl, yeah, she told on you too. You know, the girl, you know, that you were with, you know what I mean? When you left out, you know, when we took, she told us that you're a pimp. So you might as well give us your side of the story because they're already giving theirs. And if we just go off of theirs, you're about to be locked up for a while. Keep in mind now, I'm 23 years old and I've never done time really before. When I did that little domestic violence, man, by me not having a criminal record, I was out just like that. So I don't know anything, but just common sense. I'm not about to talk to you pig motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? So, plus you didn't expose your hand. You already told me what I'm in here for. So now that you told me what I'm in here for, I can shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? I ain't done deal. So now I know what the fuck I'm in here for. So it's like, yeah, you know that girl that you were with, before we let you go. How do you think that girl was that you had, that you were trying to pimp out, Or what is that term that you little fuckers use, that you were trying to turn out, You're trying to turn her out, right? So, tell us, how do you think that she was? I'm being quiet. You know what I mean? I'm being quiet like a motherfucker. It's like, listen, we already know that you're a pimp. We already know that you're a fucking pimp. Look at your shoes. By the way, those are some good shoes. Your feet even fit in those fucking shoes. Oh my God, you're pimped out. You're like one of the 70s. Most of the pimps, they come in here looking dirty and raggedy, but you're a together pimp, And we're treating you with some respect. So the least you can do is treat us with some respect. Come on now. Don't be a smart ass. Help yourself out. Talk to us. And I'm shutting the fuck up. Oh, well, you don't want to talk? You don't want to say anything? Well, just to let you know, that girl, that you were trying to pimp out and turn out, whatever your little terms may be. By the way, I watch all the little movies too. I know all your little lingo. But I just want you to know that, that girl is 14 years old. So when the judge sees you, because when the judge sees you, you're not going to be in that fucking suit. All right? And when the judge finally sees you and you're up in here for a fucking 14-year-old, what are they going to think then? Yeah, she was 14. You were trying to turn out a 14-year-old. Yeah, you didn't know that, huh? Yeah, well, she let us know that you didn't know that. But guess what? Doesn't matter if you didn't know that or you did know that. Because guess what? We know that she was 14 and you're about to be doing some time. So when he said this to me, even though I got to maintain, I got to give you my thoughts, and this ain't no insult. I know I got white followers and everything too, but I got to give you everything. I can't give you it to you in part. But in my mind, I was like, like this cracker, he's saying what he's saying, out his mouth, this Edomite is just screaming all up in my motherfucking face and shit, so I'm fucked up. I'm fucked up because I never thought that somebody like me would be in this type of situation. It was like everything was moving fast from, June of 07 to April, of 2008. It was like a fucking movie, man. Everything was moving fast. And now I'm here, looking at, whatever. I don't know even my charges yet. So everybody coming in, they know me from the streets, the strip, seeing, man, what's going on? And I got to put up that front like nothing is bothering me. But at this time, I want to break down, man. But, when you're a man, it just is what it is, man. You got to roll with it. So, I'm fucked up. So, of course, one of the coldest things that I had to do in my life is pick up that phone and call my best friend, which is my mother. And I called Marita Mayberry, and I called her, and I said, because, she was already messed up. You have a call from, because when I got arrested for that domestic violence, I knew I was going to get out. But this situation looked like some time. And by me not having knowledge of the law and how to do time and all of that, it was like, I didn't know what was going on. So, I pick up the phone. First, I'd already talked to, I talked to P, I talked to Freeze, different ones, and it's like, yeah, man, I had already heard, bro, like, it was certain people, man, that seen you get carried away to the, to the car and everything, man. There was certain P's that saw the whole thing, man. I'm going to try to do my best, man, to get you out, look out for you and everything. That's what the P's is saying. And this is why, if you've been paying attention to my fucking videos, this is why I said so many times that you need to be working on a secret language with your women. You need to be memorizing every number. There's so many of you deep. You got your broads, and you don't know their numbers. You ain't memorized the numbers. And they didn't let me write down, the numbers. Now when, the other time they asked me, but this time they did not allow me to write down any numbers from that phone. So I could only call numbers, that was memorized. The little bitch that I went off on that snitched on me, I knew her number, but shit, I can't call her. So, I'm fucked up. This is a whole fucked up situation. The bitches that I need to get in touch with, they just out scattered abroad. They just out here. I'm thinking to myself, they about to get knocked. And right now I need my bail money. Like, Lord, how could you allow this to happen to me? Like, I done did some shit, but I ain't never done no shit like this. So, okay, after I finish talking to my P partners, I sit up there and call my mama. Bam, hit moms up. And, by me knowing that she's saved and, this is my best friend, I knew it was just a complete letdown. Because this is the son that you were raising to be to graduate from college. He dropped out of college. He go to Vegas. He's singing. And one thing, 1 minute he's singing. The next minute he pimping. Next minute he telling you that you getting a call from CCDC. And he telling you that he got a charge, for a minor. Once that paper came back, we got pandering on a minor, living of the earnings of prostitution, minor, transportation of prostitution, minor, child endangerment. And then that's the little charges pertaining to pimping. But I was fucked up once I saw this. My heart fell out. It was like I damn near had a stroke, but I had to keep because there's niggas around me that know me from the streets, so I got to maintain that image. But I'm seeing pandering, living on the earnings of prostitution, transportation of prostitution, child endangerment, sexual seduction, but not just one sexual seduction. 5 charges for sexual seduction. I'm seeing 7 charges, damn near for sexual assault. You know what I mean? So my bail, I don't know what the bail is. I don't know what the bail is. So I got that, and that's just for her. Keep in mind now, I still got 3 cases from March in the system. I still already, prior to April 17, 2008, I already had a pandering in the system pending. I still had they end up throwing the pandering out, but they replaced the pandering with living of earnings of prostitution. So I got living of the earnings of prostitution in the system. I got robbery in the system. And I got domestic violence. So I got 3 cases outside of this one. So I got that with the minor, and with the adult that snitched on me. You know what I mean? I got pandering with her, living on the earnings of prostitution with her, and transportation of prostitution with her. You know what I mean? But because they wanted to keep me in there and not have given me action and making bail, they sat up there and had me, multiple charges for pandering. So it wasn't one pander. Because at that time, pandering really wasn't no big bail. Pandering was only like $3,000. So if you got 5 pandering charges, that's going to be 15, or you got, 10, that's going to be 30. So that's what they would do. They give you multiple charges of the same little charge that has a little bail to make the shit, add up. So, okay, you got that going on. You got the assault, you got the seduction, and that's with the minor. But with the adult, I told you, the pandering, the living on the earnings of prostitution, and transportation, right? So, by me not having no type of knowledge on how to do time, none of that. I'm sitting over there, just fucked up. Never did drugs before in my life, but at that time, if you probably would have gave me something, I probably would have, man, because I was trying to escape this reality. But, so make a long story short, I ended up getting, going to the little holding cell before you get a bed upstairs. I told my mom, crying, oh God, she's speaking in tongues, and, Lord, my child, and, So that fucked me up. So I'm just fucked up, man. I'm just fucked up. This whole situation is fucked up. You know what I mean? So I'm like, man, god damn, nigga, I ain't even been in this shit a year, and I'm about to lose my life in prison, because at that time, I did not know that the sexual seduction was 15 to life, okay? Sexual assault, I don't know, they could be greater now, but I'm telling you according to 2008. But in 2008, sexual assault was 35 to life, okay? 35 to life. I want all you motherfuckers that be thinking about, kids, and you might got a stable of kids right now and shit like that, and, whether you know or whether you didn't know, you know what I mean? If you don't know what you're doing, that's why I always say it's imperative to have informative representatives in your life. Like the scripture says, in a multitude of counsel, there is safety, okay? If you don't have the knowledge of the game, if you don't have the correct information, a father, an uncle, P partners and shit like that, the probability of you losing your life doing a life sentence, losing your existence in prison is very high. So, by this time, I finally get to see my public, I got to tell you the truth, because the money was confiscated. I didn't have no bank account. Sin got to give it to you in the raw. I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. I'm trying to be deep. I'm spending money every day trying to compete against people that had already been in the game for years. So when they called me with my pants all the way down, okay? So I don't got no money for bail, all right? And I'm calling my partners and shit, you know what I mean? I'm calling my partners, and I see some of the questions. That's why I want you guys to call in. But you know what I mean? Because I see certain questions pertaining to certain crimes, like what's this? Because you don't know the definition of it. Call in tonight. Some of y'all be scared to call in. Call in. And, you know what I mean? As time basically progressed, moving right forward, I get upstairs. Of course, I see different people that I know and all that shit, and they talking about, what up, P? I'm talking about, I'm very discouraged now. Because I'm seeing motherfuckers that I ain't seen in the street in a minute. They here. So in my mind, like, this where y'all at? So it's already creeping, you know what I mean? In my mind, like, goddamn, I'm about to be up in here. I'm about to be up in here, man. I'm about to end up doing time in this motherfucker. Now, first, they put me in the South Tower, okay? I was in the South Tower. Anybody that ever been in the South Tower, you know what I mean? The South Tower, that's easy money. So once, I started talking to veteran P's and certain gangsters and shit like that, because there was a bunch of niggas in there that I ain't gonna say nobody's name, that I knew from the street, and I told them the whole ordeal. They already knew it was some bullshit because they know me. But we sitting over here chopping it up, and they tell me, but this case can't be that serious, Sin. They must ain't got no real information on you. That's why they put all these charges on you to keep you in here so you can't bail out. But if your case was that serious, my nigga, you wouldn't be in the South Tower. You gonna be in the North Tower. Okay? Watch this. I lied to you not. Within a 2-day period, you know what I mean? I go from, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you know what I mean? The South Tower. Because in the South Tower, you see people going home every day in jail. If you ever been in the South Tower of CCDC, everybody and their mama going home every day. You look up every 2 seconds, somebody going home. So it gives you some type of inspiration. The nigga that you kicking it with today, laughing with today, you know what I mean? Y'all chopping it up. Because, in jail, niggas going to do everything to keep their mind occupied. Niggas is rapping, singing and all of this shit. So the nigga that you having fun with, he going home. So, you know what I mean, with your case coming up, you know what I mean, because this is what happened. My case basically, you know what I mean, is getting ready to go to your arraignment. Your arraignment come before your prelim. So, you know what I mean, which I done already, you know what I mean, went through. When I went to the arraignment, the lawyer was like, he's never been in any trouble. He got arrested before for domestic violence, but he was put out. They kicked him out. Of course, the DA was like, yes, Your Honor. Yes, he has, gotten out on the OR for the domestic violence. But I want you to keep in mind that he has a pandering case, which I told you they ended up making it into living and earnings of prostitution. He has a pandering case as well as the domestic violence, and he also has a robbery. Yes, he has a robbery, okay? So he might have not had any criminal history in times past, but what I believe that he just hasn't been caught. But, I've read Philip Gilmore, he has some education. So by him having education, he was able to get away from a lot of things. But he's a monster. He's not beating any of these, may not be beating these girls or using tactics, but he's a monster. He has all of these cases. We shouldn't OR him. So the lawyer said, well, maybe we can allow him to go to his grandmother's, because at the time my grandmother was still living. We can allow him to go to his grandmother's and we can put him on house arrest. No, I don't think, Judge, Your Honor, I don't think that he needs to get out, because not only does he have that case pending, keep in mind, Your Honor, that he has a pandering case with a minor, Your Honor. We can't allow just because he doesn't have any criminal history to just go out, into society. He's a monster. He should not be in society. The honor went with the DA. I was kept, At that time, my bail still really wasn't that high. At that time, it was like, I don't remember the exact, but at that time, I was in the high 100. I'm like 170 something. So at that time, even though it's, a little high, I'm still speaking to all my square friends and my P partners and things like that, because I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? I had did some things, to some of my P partners as far as knocking them for a bribe. You know what I mean? Because like I told you, I came up around cutthroats. I didn't get the way that I am until now. I had to evolve into that. But in the beginning, it ain't really a P partner that I had that ain't been knocked, and I just knocked a few times. So a lot of niggas, when I went down, it was like good, what I mean? Even though they smiled and everything, but it was kind of like fuck Sin. You know what I mean? I ain't like what he did. You know what I mean? Niggas sat up there, got at my bitch. And some of them niggas I wasn't even really cool with like that. We were just chopping it up at the bar and shit like that. That don't mean I wasn't supposed to give you the call, nigga. But anyway, when I went down, a lot of niggas was rejoicing, right? So I'm trying to sit up there, man, and pee over the phone. Keep in mind now, I'm seeing niggas catch tampering with a witness. And let me say this too, because I got to give messages within it. I got to give game at the same time. When you go to the county, okay, even the pen, but especially the county, nigga, watch what the fuck you say. It says that these calls are being monitored, okay? How does Sin really learn how to speak indirect but direct, when talking to people over the phone? I learned that by watching other motherfuckers sit up there and conduct, conversation with they bitches. And niggas would be sitting over there pimping all on the phone. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? How much you done check now? Okay, how much you done checked over here? Okay, how much you done checked? Okay, woo. And not just checking money over the phone. I've actually heard niggas instruct bitches to basically do certain things with witnesses over the fucking phone. To all my young people, you know what I mean? If you get locked up, do not say anything, you know what I mean, while you are locked up. Learn how to speak, and I'm going to have to do a video about that, speaking indirect but direct. But one P, I tell that story later, but one P that I knew, he was a well-known P from the Bay. He ended up catching a tampering with a witness case. So I had to learn from his situation, from him basically catching that case. So I was very scared to say anything really over the phone, man. So a lot of my conversations were spiritual. And by this time, You know what I mean? It didn't take long. You got to remember, man, you know what I mean? Them broads was young, man. You know what I mean? Early 20s, man. The youngest I had out there, you know what I mean, was 19 that was with me, you know. So, you know, they ended up, you know what I mean, choosing up. You know what I mean? Like they were supposed to. You know what I mean? Didn't nobody, you know what I mean, in that situation. Plus, I did some shit that was dumb as fuck. You know what I mean? They needed guidance. I wasn't mad at that. You know, and plus, I always remember, young P, that these bitches belong to the game. So when you locked up and fucked up, you know what I'm saying? Always remember, nigga, watch how you speak on pimping. You know, them pimps that you see holeless and doleless, watch your motherfucking mouth, because the game will put you in a situation, might be an incarceration. And them same P's that you look down on, now they up, or now they knocking the same bitch that you was sitting over there bragging about. So watch what you say, man. But you know what I mean? Long story short, I'm sitting over there, man, keeping my conversations not only spiritual, but I'm trying to indirectly but directly, man, get up money, man, for my bail. It's still looking kind of good for me. But out of nowhere, you know what I mean, ended up sitting over there coming with more pandering, more living on the earnings of prostitution charges, because they had multiple interviews. So what they was doing was they was basically looking at the time of this and this and this was said, but the stories wasn't on point. It was on one accord, and they knew that. So speeding it right along, you know what I mean, I thought that my bail was going to be cool. Bail was not going to be cool. Once we got to prelim, because all the OGs was telling me, like, you really going to find out a lot of shit at your prelim. You know what I mean? At your prelim, man, you're going to have a lot of information revealed. So when I came, remind you now, I'm 23, only been in the game 10 months, no knowledge of the law, so I'm just really moving on mine. And every conversation, you know, talking to jailhouse lawyers and all the old motherfuckers in there. So, you know, I see somebody say he said the right thing if it's not waived. So anyway, I come up in there and the lawyer telling me, like, look, he gave me that look, like, look, they got the broad here, they told on you, and the minor is here too, okay? What I would do is waive your prelim, and once you waive the prelim, basically that gives the time frame, because these girls, that's what happens to girls, you know what I'm saying, in the lifestyle. Their stories is they're not going to be on one accord, because that's what I was saying in my mind. I'm young and naive. I'm like, man, if I sit up there and go against them, bro, I could be my own lawyer, man, and I'll get my own self out of this situation. They're like, your language and my language is two different languages. Not only that, you're not a lawyer, and the judge ain't going to even allow that. He said, I'm telling you, you should waive your rights, because if she says something under oath, that means that even if she disappeared, what she said under oath in the prelim will still be used in the trial if they want to continue on with the case, whether she's there or not, they still gonna use what she said under oath. Okay? But if she disappears, or they both disappear, and nothing was said under oath, you know what I mean? You didn't have the prelim, and you go to trial and nobody shows up, you're going to be a free man. They're going to have to drop it. So I'm thinking to myself, you know what I mean, because the OGs done pretty much already told me, and oh yeah, by the way, they had been kicked me out of South Tower, you know what I mean, damn near a few days later, I was gone. I'm in North Tower now, you know what I mean, and I'm about to get into that too. They sat up there, you know what I mean, and came at me, well, he came at me with that and let me know, like, look, man, if you sit up there and had this prelim, they can sit up there and have that trial with or without them bras. But prostitutes disappear all the time. So, you know what I mean? You need to waive that. When you say waive your rights, that means that you don't want to have, you know, your prelim. That you know what I mean? You're not going to allow them to get on the stand and say anything right now under oath, because the probability of them brides getting lost in the sauce and never being seen and again, they might choose up with a pimp. She might go get a job. She might move over here, and the police might lose connection with them brides. So by them losing, contact with them brides, and you going to trial, you know what I mean, they're going to have to drop it because nothing was said under oath. So, you know what I mean, I was like, because in my mind, I was like, bitches do sit up there and they choose up, searching. Then I was like, shit, the other bitches, they didn't choose up. So I was like, man, it looked like I'm going to be in the county for a while. They're going to, I'm going to be in the county for a while. So I did. Now, let me say this to you young people. That sounded smart to a dumb nigga. That sounded smart to a nigga who wasn't knowledgeable about the law, who had never basically did, anything pertaining to the game and got caught up for any mispimping or no pimping. But let me teach you the intelligence of having your prelim, okay? Because just like, there's benefits of not having it, but at the same time, when you have that prelim, what they're going to do is they're going to compare what was said at the prelim to what's being said now at trial, okay? And when you remove that motherfucking prelim, you taking away the inconsistencies. You taking away basically statements not being on one accord with one another. You know what I mean? Because, brides gonna make up stories as they go and all that type of shit. And the prelim and the trial is gonna say two different things. Now, at that time, even though I wasn't knowledgeable of the law, I shouldn't have went with that. I should have still had the prelim, because in all reality, I lost time in my life because I was trying to keep up with the Joneses, nigga, and I didn't have no motherfucking money. So basically, you understand me, when your ass is broke and you're not doing what the fuck you supposed to be doing, with your motherfucking money, and you got a case and you can't afford a paid lawyer, you can't afford no bail, you stuck up in jail, you got to sit up there and fight from the inside, it is not looking good for you. It's not looking good for you at all. As somebody used to say, my mom used to say, tet-tal. But, okay, I'm in here, I'm listening to all the OGs. I'm in here listening to blood niggas, crip niggas. I'm listening to anybody that never done time, man. You know what I mean? Let me tell you, young niggas, man, it's going to be a lot of niggas that gonna come to you like they a lawyer. Like they, you know what I mean? Because I ain't gonna lie, it was a judge up in there. You know what I mean? He was fighting the motherfucking case and shit like that. Now, I had ended up, and that's why I was telling y'all about that Lil J situation, because a lot of you niggas was trying to say Sin Lil J was in PC. Now, when you got a case like OJ, or you got a high-profile case, or you got a case with a minor, they gonna put your ass in PC. Yeah, they gonna do that. That's what they did with me. But this is the thing. This is the truth now. I just gotta tell the irrefutable truth. They gonna give you the option of whether or not you get to ride a kite. You can get out of PC. I know, because I got out the motherfucker. So for South Tower and North Tower, if anybody wanted to see me about anything, and especially high desert and southern desert, I walked the main line. So anybody that wanted to do anything or say anything to Sin Ful, I was an open prey. You could have got at me. So I have to make that known. I don't know how it is out there in Illinois, because I've never done prison time in Illinois. But what I will say, as far as jail and the pen, you can write to get your motherfucking ass up out of there. So if a motherfucker stay in PC, it's because he want to be in PC. You know what I mean? Like OJ got out of Love Lock. Love Lock is a PC yard. You know what I mean? It's when they sit up there, and when you got a pimping on a minor, you got pandering on a minor, automatically they gonna put your motherfucking ass in PC. You gotta be the one to ride a kite. You know what I mean? Basically, letting it be known that, you all right, you're going to be cool. And, you know what I'm saying? If something happened to you, whether you get killed, stabbed up, they're not going to be able to sit up there and sue. You know what I mean? They're not going to sit up there and be able to sue the jail. So I had to waive my motherfucking rights. So I come up in the North Tower where everybody and their mama a lawyer. listening to everybody's advice. But the OGs was letting me know. The OGs was letting me know, like, Sin, keep staying prayerful, P. They gonna come at you with a deal. And at this time, man, I'm looking like, nah, man, they ain't gonna fuck with me. You know what I mean? But they did. And I gotta give you the real. My first deal ever, was a 15 to 30. All right? And even though I wasn't knowledgeable of the law, I was like, God damn, 15 to 30 years, I ain't killed nobody. I didn't even know this motherfucking girl. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm getting upset. I ain't pimp on her. I ain't get to have no money. And y'all talking about I gotta be up in here for 15 fucking years before I sit up there and get a shot at parole? So, okay, 15 to 30 motherfucking years. And at that time, I'm going to keep it 100. At first, I was upset. I was mad. I told him I would think about it. And, some of the OGs, some of the niggas that I was talking to, they was like, you might not want to deal with it, but you got to look at it like this, Sin. Right now, you 23 years old. You do 15 years, you're going to be 38. You're going to make your first board because you don't have no felonies. So you're going to make your first board. Long as you don't get into no bullshit while you locked up, you ain't really there. You're going to make your first board. So 15 years from now, you're going to be 38 years old. So you're going to have action. You still going to be young. You know what I mean? They telling me this at 23, and in my mind, I'm like, nigga, 38 years old. Nigga, that's old as a motherfucker. Nigga, I ain't trying to be up in here no motherfucking 38. Nigga, y'all got me fucked up. I don't even know that girl. So, they sitting over there, you know what I mean, man. I know you don't want to hear it, but what you got to understand is, and they was telling the truth. That's why I almost took the 15 to 30. I almost took the 15 to motherfucking 30, nigga, simply because I'm seeing niggas in the North Tower ain't like the South Tower. The South Tower, you seeing niggas get out and go to jail every day. Nigga, in the North Tower, that's not what you seeing. You seeing depression. You seeing motherfuckers go to court with a smile on their face, talking about pray for me. All right, man, y'all pray for me. Woo, 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 woo. All right, blood. All right, cuz. Then another IP. You know what I mean? And everybody sitting over there, you know what I mean? Like, doing all of that. And I'm seeing niggas go to court happy. But when them niggas came back, nigga, you would have thought they motherfucking ass was getting ready to commit suicide, nigga. Because I done seen niggas come back from sentencing after receiving life sentences. You know what I mean? So it seemed like everybody that was going to trial, especially with the pimping, man, they was losing. They was losing, man. Because 2008, that was Operation Pimp. They look it up, Operation Pimp, 2008. They was taking everybody and their mama down. So, okay, bam, man, you know what I mean? I'm locked up, I'm fucked up, you know what I mean? And they talking about 15 to 30 years. I'm contemplating on taking it. And to keep it 100, I ain't trying to make myself into like a hard-ass nigga or anything like this, but nigga, I didn't sit up there and, I just thought that was weak. I'm seeing a lot of the P's turn to religion. I'm seeing a lot of the P's turn into Muslims slowly, but it was like, I wasn't really talking holiness and about God, right now, in the streets, you know what I mean? So, no, I got to keep it pimping. And I used to irritate the fuck out of my mom because when my mom would be talking to me, she'd put me on the phone with different elders and, different evangelists and her family members, and they trying to preach to me. And I was like, I'm Sin Ful The P. I done got up in here. So it is what it is, man. So, I never went to no religion. I never got married. I never told no bride I was going to get married when I got out. I was Sin Ful The P when I went in. I was dumb as fuck when I went in. I was Sin Ful The P, but, I'm going to be Sin Ful The P while I'm in here. And if God allowed me to get out, I'm going to be Sin Ful The P. And if I go to spirituality and if I go to God, it got to be outside of a jail and a prison still. You know what I'm saying? So, no, you know what I mean? So, with that, unless, a nigga got life or something, I can see that, but just some years now. So, anyway, I didn't take the 15 to 30. I allowed God to deal with me. I began to think about, you know what I mean, my life. And I was like, 15 to 30, come out at 38 years old, that ain't cool. So I didn't take that. I ain't roll with that. So, okay, after that, you know what I mean? Because this is what the OGs, that's what I'm telling, notice I keep saying the OGs, you know what I mean? Veterans, motherfucking felons, nigga, convicts, you know what I mean? The convicts was giving me game. Crips and Bloods was giving me game. You know what I mean? Letting it be known, you know what I mean? Like Sin, you know what I mean? Nah. You know what I mean? Some of the niggas was like, nah, you can't take that because, you know what I mean, Sin 15 to motherfucking 30, nigga. What you gotta understand, P, is they came at you already with a deal. If they had substantial evidence on you the way that they making it seem, nigga, you wouldn't have got a deal this motherfucking early, nigga. It's niggas up in here that been in here 3 years and still ain't seen no deal. So, you know what I mean? Nah, you don't want to see no, you don't want to sit up there, you know what I mean, and sign that. That ain't what you want to do. So, I didn't take the 15 and 30. Next thing you know, a month later, they came with a 1 to 10. But the 1 to 10, you know what I mean, had the 1 to 10 set up there, you understand me, and had motherfucking, you got to register as a sex offender. I'm like, man, hell motherfucking no. And you niggas that's from the city of Chicago, nigga, you already know, nigga, we gonna die, nigga, we gonna get shot, we gonna get killed, we gonna get up there and get stabbed before we get out as a sex offender. And I'm not downing any of my partners. Some of my partners caught cases with adult bitches, not minors. They trying to make pimping into a sex crime, and what they deceived a lot of the older and younger P's into registering as a sex offender. So you got a lot of niggas, you know what I mean, which I'm gonna probably show in the next video. I'm gonna show you my paperwork because I don't have to register. God was merciful to me. I ain't got to register as no sex offender. Never registered as a sex offender. Wasn't going to register as a sex offender. Would have died before then, nigga. But, you know, I'm gonna show you my paperwork. And 1036381, anybody want to look up anything I'm saying, my shit open. So, you know what I mean? Everything that I'm saying is documented. So, you know what I mean? Make a long story short, you know, I keep saying that, but it's long as hell, right? But, you know what I mean? They came with the 1 to 10, but they want me to register as a sex offender. Nigga, I don't give a fuck if it was 2 days. If I got registered as a sex offender, I'm up in here. You know what I mean? That's one thing we can't do. We not snitching. We not being no sex offender. We not standing up in nobody's PC. We walking main lines. You know what I mean? No, man. You know what I mean? I'm not coming out as no motherfucking sex offender, nigga. You're not about to make me into one of them niggas, nigga. I'm not that. So, they sit up there, you know what I mean? Of course, after the little 1 to 10, you know what I mean? Slowly but surely, I ended up getting the motion of discovery. You know, the OG was like, you know, what's up with the motion? And this to you young niggas. When you first go into the county, instantly, motion of discovery. Motion of discovery. Fuck whatever the lawyer talking about at the time. Motion of discovery. What's up with that motion of discovery? Oh, we ain't got it. What's up with that motion of discovery? What's up with that motion of discovery? Because if you don't ask for that motion of discovery, 9 out of 10, a lot of them ain't even gonna give it to you. And whether you have a paid lawyer or a public pretender, nigga, at the end of the day, you your best lawyer. All right? You your best motherfucking lawyer. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck if you gave that lawyer 40 or 50,000, you know what I mean, to so-called be your motherfucking lawyer. Nigga, you have to get your motion of discovery, nigga. When you come in, instantly, motion of discovery. Well, we haven't got it. Motion of discovery. Motion of discovery. Nigga, you need to be motion of discovery, the P. Motion of discovery. Motion of discovery. Well, we don't have motion of discovery. Well, motion of discovery. If you ain't remember nothing else from this video, Sin told you as soon as you come to jail, especially when you facing a real case, motion of discovery. All right? Because each and every day that you read your motion of discovery, you're going to find out each and every fucking day a new revelation. You're going to see something in your motion of discovery that you didn't see yesterday. Okay? And once I got the motion of discovery, this girl ain't said nothing about no motherfucking sex. She ain't said nothing about me instructing her. And the motion of discovery shows, nigga, that I never broke her. So if I never got no money from her, I never instructed her to prostitute, never had sex with her. Why the fuck do I got sexual assault, sexual seduction, pandering on a minor, living on the earnings of prostitution with a minor? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's happening? So their first excuse was, well, they had multiple interviews. That's not, all of it. Because my motion of discovery looked like a motherfucking murder case. You know what I mean? You would have looked at my motion and thought that I murdered somebody, but it was actually for pimping and pandering. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? They was like, yeah, Sin. Yeah, Philip. This is not all of it. So once I said, well, where's the rest of the motion of discovery? So once I got the rest of the motherfucking motion of discovery, and nigga, I'm starting to read, and I'm looking up in my motherfucking motion, this girl has not, let me give it to you squares. Pandering is enticing, or basically it's enticing or compelling a woman to prostitute or continue in prostitution. Okay? So if you have not enticed, compelled her to be a prostitute or continue in prostitution, you haven't pandered. That's pandering. You know what I mean? So, hold on. You haven't pandered. So since you haven't, pandered, I shouldn't have no allegations of pandering because from what she was saying, according to all of her stories, because it was inconsistencies and everything, but what she was saying was, and I don't want to say the broad name, y'all remember the Ethiopian that I had, the one with all the education, she fly planes, speak different languages, never fucked her and all that shit, right? With that being said, you know what I mean? She sat up there and said in her story, not just the first story, not just the second, not just the third, not just the fourth, not just the fifth, not just the sixth. They wasn't even supposed to be doing this. If y'all remember from the beginning, this girl was 14 going on 15. She was damn near, you understand me, up in there. She would have been in there, you know what I mean, if she had not told them that she was, a minor. They thought that she was 19 years old. So they were trying to have multiple interviews, not only to coach her into saying certain things, but to also cover up their tracks because they fucked up by arresting her as if she basically was 19 years old. So within the case, you know what I mean, she went on to say that the girl, the Ethiopian, was the one that, enticed her to prostitute. And they asked her, they said, well, what about Sin Ful? Did Sin Ful give you any instructions on how to prostitute? Did he give you any game? And at first she sat up there and she was like, all he said was, I'm going to see you back because he had to go somewhere, which is true. But I ended up seeing her, like I told you, y'all been listening. I went back to the room, but she's saying that she didn't get no instructions from me, which is true. She never got any instructions from me. I never told her that I wanted her to be my host. She the one that called, remember? She called and said that she wanted to fuck with me. Only conversations that occurred was between her and the bride, not me and her. So I never enticed her to prostitute, never enticed her to continue to prostitute. So no pandering. The money that she made before she got arrested never made it to my hand. So no living of the earnings of prostitution. Now, as far as the other bride, the Ethiopian, of course, she was saying that she was hoeing for me. So, of course, that's living of the earnings of prostitution. You know what I mean? And she had been arrested sometime. So that's what they trying to work with. In the other cases that I got pending with the living of the earnings of prostitution and domestic violence and robbery that I had with the other girl in March. So even though they don't really have no proof, we know that this nigga got to be out there trying to do some pimping, because how in the fuck do you got 4 cases in the system and it's all with women, and all of a sudden, just a coincidence, all your cases is pertaining to so-called pimping. Even the robbery case that I told you guys about, the robbery case, She said I got out of a fucking Malibu car and took $7 from her and got back. I got to give it to you the way it is. Peace, $7. Yeah, $7. She said I took $7 out of her purse and got up in the car and drove the fuck off. So they had no visual, they had no audio, they had no substantial evidence, but I was, charged with that. I got the allegations off that just off of her word. As far as the sexual shit and the pandering and the living on the earnings of prostitution and all of that, there was no proof within the motion of discovery. There was no proof. There was nowhere where she said I pandered. There was no proof of her saying that I was living off the earnings because she never gave me no money. And there was no proof to say sexual assault or sexual seduction because we never had sex, and she never said anything in the interviews about having sex. So basically what you guys did was basically take a lot of charges to pump my bail up. And I was ignorant of the game. Cause see, this is what basically y'all do. You know what I mean? This is what they do. They sit up there and they add all of these cases, all of these charges. And once they add all of the charges together, not only does that make your bail higher, but that puts the fear in your heart. Because it feels like you're never going to get out. It feels like you're never going to see society again. So, by you being fearful, and by you having no knowledge of the law, and by you not being a convict, and by you listening to jailhouse lawyers, you're going to jump on the first deal that we bring, because when we bring you that first deal, you're going to feel like this a blessing from God. It's so many young niggas right now, you know what I'm saying, that is, no, somebody got it misconstrued. No, bro, not 700. I usually speak in code, and yeah, a lot of times $7 do mean, 7,700 or something. But no, I mean $7. That's what I caught a robbery case. They had no proof of it, but just off the strength of her word, the allegation just off her saying I took $7. But anyway, when you got all of these cases, you're going to feel like you're never going to get out. So when they bring you your deal, you're going to sit up there and jump. You're going to jump on the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I got so many young niggas, man, from school. I got so many young niggas from 60s. So many young niggas, you know what I'm saying, from Gerson's. And they was walking High Desert Yard doing 7 and 10 year sentences just because they didn't have knowledge of the law. They was jumping on deals, man. You know what I mean? They didn't have somebody really spit knowledge to them. They thought that the lawyer was really their friend. But the lawyer is not your friend, especially if you got a public pretender. The public pretender is getting his same check that where, you know what I mean, the DA getting their check from. And they just want to basically get a conviction. This not to help you. They don't give a fuck about you. They really don't even give a fuck about this little girl or this woman that's prostituting. They can give a lovely fuck about whatever the fuck is going on. We just want our conviction, and we gonna have lunch later on. You know what I mean? So I was nothing but paperwork. You're nothing but paperwork to them. So, okay, man, fast forwarding on. You know what I mean? Like I just told y'all, man, it was no proof of no sex, no living on the earnings of prostitution, no of pandering, but at the same time, I didn't want to play with my motherfucking life. I didn't want to go to trial. Because in that motherfucking North Tower, nigga, I'm seeing niggas come up in here with 20 L, 20 years this. Everybody and their mama, man, is losing. Everybody and their mama is losing trial. I've yet to see one nigga go to trial and win the trial. You know what I mean? During that time when I was locked up. And I was locked up in CCDC for 13 motherfucking months. Okay? So once I motherfucking got to damn near, like, let's see, going on 12 months, they finally brought a 1 to 4. And the reason why they brought a 1 to 4, and I want you young people to pay attention, the reason why they really brought that 1 to 4 is because the young bride, they kept that from me, but the young bride had made it known from in the new interview that, you know what I mean, he never was a pimp. He didn't pimp on me. You know what I mean? He didn't do no pimping on me. They said, well, Did he have other girls? Yeah, he pimped on them, but he didn't pimp on me. He didn't really say nothing to me. And they keep trying to ask questions just like the DA do. They trying to ask questions and keep on asking them question after question after question after question. And she still was not budging. He never said it, and they was mad off that. Now, what I didn't tell you guys, because I got to tell you how I feel as far as emotionally reacting and mentally responding. The bride that snitched on me, that's one thing I didn't include, because it's so long, it's so much in it. But she actually had the nerve to come visit me. But when she visited me, she visited, with my grandmother's last name. Okay? Keep in mind, she's already basically, on probation for identity theft. She's on probation for identity theft, but at the same time, she's using my grandmother's last name to sit up there and come see me. And at the time, I'm sitting over there chopping it up because, when you did months, you done got settled in. Everybody know you now, you kind of popular. So, I finally got visitation. And I seen that it said such and such, such and such. My grandmother's last name is Evans. So when I seen Evans, it kind of threw me off, but I'm looking at this first name crazy as hell. I'm saying, no. So anyway, I go. And anybody ever had visitation in CCDC, bro, you already know you're going to be looking at these TV monitors. So I'm looking at the little monitor. I see her looking ugly than a motherfucker. And not to mention, that you're snitching. But, I'm sitting over there looking at her motherfucking ugly ass. And she sit up there and she say, I just want to tell you I'm so sorry. And, I got a little money and I'm working on your bail and I'm working on getting you a paid lawyer. And, I want to sit up there and I want to come back to you. I miss you so much. And, oh my God, it's been so hard out here. Keep in mind, not only has this bride told on me, not only is this bride, sitting over there working with them people, but you came to visit me, and I ain't even mentioned that, you fucking with my nigga. I told you my nigga that, in the beginning, if you was paying attention, I told you I was going to tell you later on, but my nigga T ended up sitting over there having that little bride. Those, I don't want to get all into it. Those that's from Milwaukee, you already know what I'm talking about. But he ended up having the bride. He always wanted a bride from me. I didn't even like the bitch. The same nigga that sit up there, you understand me, and said, you need to take care of her. He was on some Jaheim shit. You need to put that woman first shit and all that. He was trying to spit that in my ear. I'm young. I ain't trying to listen. He talking about me fucking her. I wasn't definitely trying to listen, because I told you I was never attracted. So what happened was, I ended up finding out word through street, because, when you locked up, you in the county of the pen, the street's going to talk to you. The street's going to let you know what's going on, because niggas that is constantly coming in and out of them doors, in the jail cell, letting me know what's going on. And I found out that, she was fucking with, him, which I didn't give a fuck, I knew that nigga when he fucked that bitch, he bust a big old nut because he always wanted to sit up there and have a bitch. Plus I said I roasted him, so I know when he bust a fat ass nut, because a lot of times niggas really don't be wanting these bitches. They just want these bitches because they come from you. But I'll deal with that later, right? So, he sit up there and had the bitch. She's at visitation. I got knowledge of you fucking with, supposedly one of my partners and shit. And you snitching on me. You using my grandma's last name to come see me. You giving me this Oscar Award winning performance. Bitch, you know me in real life. I can't say what I want to say, over this phone and to you right now. The way I really want to get at you, but you really know me. At times I could be very demonic. And, she just kept on crying and all that, and I emotionally reacted. I did not mentally respond. I emotionally reacted all the fucking way. Plus, you got to keep in mind, I'm 23. Young, stupid. So I was like, you dumbass bitch. Why you bring your dumb ass up here to sit up there and act like you about to go get my bail? Bitch, I don't want one snitch dollar from you, bitch. You stupid. You actually think I'm about to fuck with you? You stupid. And she cried, no, I messed up. And woo, woo. And the OGs, you know what I mean? Of course, had already kind of like, we had like warning come before destruction all the time. We had already kind of had, of course, they didn't say no, the game that I'm giving you as far as mentally responding, emotionally reacting. But they told me how to basically, you had to sit up there, man, and keep your emotions, man, to yourself. And at that time, I didn't have that game, baby. Not at all. You know what I mean? I went clean the fuck off on that bitch. Bitch, I should motherfucking reach through here and beat your motherfucking ass. Bitch, you got me up in here. You know what I mean? Well, the quiet as is kept. You know what I mean? She's not really, telling like that. And plus the statements that I said, I'm trying to take my statements back. I really love you, Sin. I really want to be with you. And man, fuck all of that. So I went clean the fuck off on that bitch. And the things that I said was totally emotional. I failed. You know what I mean? I told that bitch, I just gotta give it to you in the raw. I told that bitch, if they let me get out this motherfucker, bitch, and you know I'm a man of my word, bitch. If I motherfucking see you, bitch, you know what the fuck it is, bitch, and that's on everything. And I don't want to go into all of that, but yeah, I even gang banged on that bitch and told her, you know what I mean, what it is. But just keeping that shit, you know what I mean, 100, moving right along. Of course, as I began to sit up there and talk and went back and told the OGs, they was like, nah, you wasn't supposed to do that. Saying you wasn't supposed to do that. That's not how you was supposed to play it, baby. You know what I'm saying? No. You should have worked that bitch in your favor. You was supposed to, send her that way. You was supposed to, no, man. She really trying to fuck with you. But at that time, man, I was so overcome with emotions that I let my emotions get the best of me. And I scared that bitch right away. You know what I mean? And that bitch didn't sit up there, man, and she didn't come back no more. But one thing that she did do, you know what I mean, is she came to sentencing and, you know what I mean, she spoke good. She tried to do that and all that. And a lot of these niggas was trying to encourage me to take the bitch back, but I couldn't do that. Every nigga different. I'm not taking back no bitch that made a statement on me, though. Nah. But, you know what I mean, moving right along, you know what I mean, they ended up, God was merciful to me. My mother was praying, the saints was praying, you know what I mean, and the girl basically said that I had done no pimping on her, you know what I mean, and statements didn't say anything about no damn sex, and they knew they didn't really have nothing. To really give you the honest to God truth, nigga, I lost damn near 3 years of my life, really over 3 years if you want to include, I'm going to get to that too, coming back on the parole violation. But, you know what I mean, with all of that, all of this could have been avoided, but I did time, nigga, because I was stupid and I was broke, okay? I was stupid and I was broke, all right? Because if I had my shit together and I was taking care of business, all that shit could have been avoided. I never really got upset and angry at some of my niggas really for not coming through the way that I thought that they should have came through, because I always went into everything like nobody really owed me nothing. So, when you come into situations like that, no matter how good you are to individuals, you realize that everybody's capabilities is not equivalent to yours, so you don't expect their loyalty to be, equivalent to yours. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. But, they sent money here and there, and they wrote and all of this shit, but just keeping that shit 100, like, I'm in here. It is what it is. But, God was merciful to me. God is in love with Philip Brandon Gilmore, so, they brought a 1 to 4. Keep in mind, by that time, they had broke it down. I was like, okay, I'm going to end up having 13 months in the system by the time sentencing comes. I really want to go to trial, but I'm discouraged because I'm seeing niggas come back with 20L, and they not playing with pimps, especially for the year 2008. It's not looking good. I want to go to trial because they don't have nothing. They ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Only thing they had was they went to the plaza And they had a video of me walking in the plaza and walking out of the plaza. You know what I'm saying? That's all they had. But they never had me walking with her. You know what I'm saying? So remember now, I came back after basically fucking with T and shit. I came back, you know what I mean, after being with him, I came back to the plaza. So they got me walking in the plaza and walking out. But they don't have no visual or audio of me spitting, pimping, me breaking on the broad. And now, you know what I mean, they got multiple interviews of her saying that I never enticed her to prostitute or continue to prostitute, and I never broke her. So if I never broke her and got no money, no living other earnings of prostitution, if I never had sex or never said anything about sex, drop the sexual seduction and sexual assault, you know, but these are scare tactics. This is what I'm giving you, young niggas. They gonna bring anything and everything. If they don't come with that, if there's no minor involved, they gonna sit up there and give you multiple charges of everything because they want to scare the fuck out of you so you can take that deal and they get a conviction and so they can have you in the system. And once they got you in the system, you know what I mean, they can you know, find you whenever they, especially if you got tattoos and all that shit. I'll get into all that later. But you know what I mean, they had came with a 1 to 4. And anybody that knows anything about doing time in Vegas, you know, when you got a 1 to 4 category D felony and all that shit, that means you getting time coming from the front, you getting time off in the back. So the way that it was read and the way it was explained, you know, basically, if I had took the deal, I didn't have to register as no sex offender, lifelong supervision. I ain't gonna put nobody out there, but they really manipulated a lot of, even some veteran pimps into registering as a sex offender. I know it's sad, but it's true. Some had minor cases, some had adult cases, and they manipulated them into basically registering as a sex offender. No registry for sex offense, no lifelong supervision. And once I go to prison, you know, I got possibility of getting probation. But once I go to prison, I won't be going to prison, you know what I mean, for pandering on a minor or living under earnings of prostitution with a minor, the sexual shit with the minor, all of that shit get dropped. And not only, you know what I mean, not only basically, you know what I mean, that shit get dropped, but now the 3 cases that I had in March, that shit also get dropped. You know what I mean? So the 3 cases, the pandering, they ended up throwing that out. And they gave me living under earnings of prostitution. Those who watched the video before this, you know what I'm talking about. It's called The First Time the Sin Ful The P Ever Got Arrested. Watch that so you'll have more understanding of this video. So, you know what I mean, with 4 cases in the system at that time, they agreed to drop the pandering with her, which they ended up making to the earnings. They dropped the earnings, dropped the domestic violence, and dropped the robbery case with me robbing her supposedly as they thought for $7 motherfucking dollars. Okay, so they said they're gonna drop that. 3. All the allegations with the minor completely dropped. Okay, so they wanted time out of me. They wanted me to do time for pandering and living off the earnings of prostitution off the Ethiopian bride. Okay, so you know, man, they pretty much knew that this nigga, he not no sex offender. He ain't sitting over there fucking with no, no kids and shit like that. But nigga, you got 4 motherfucking cases in here, nigga, and it's all pertaining to, you know what I mean, the game, and they all of the alleged victims, you know what I'm saying, is women and shit, is a minor that's a female. So nigga, we know you out here. You know what I mean? We know you ain't on no sex offense, but you out here pimping. And we might not have no cold evidence, but at the same time, if your ass go to trial, your ass is still mine because you still got cases in the system. And it's just a coincidence that they all pertain to pandering. That's not good. Whether you got criminal history or not, that's not good. And keep in mind, in 2008, they washing niggas left and right. So Of course, I acknowledge a few older P's and shit over the phone, and I'm talking to different ones. They like, yeah, P, man, nigga, nigga, that's way, nigga, because when you talked about the 15 to 30 coming out at 38 years old, you know what I mean, that would have been fucked up, but at least you would have came out. But now they turn back around, and now, you know what I mean, you got a 1 to 4 with the category D, and nigga, you ain't got that minor shit on you. You ain't got that kid shit on you. That got dropped. But they did put that in my ear. It's like they're not doing you no favor, P. The thing is, the reason is they're doing this is because her interviews is not consistent. It's not together, number one. And then number two, 9 out of 10, they ain't got no communication with that girl no more. And I ended up finding out that they didn't have communication with that girl no more. You know what I'm saying? But 9 out of 10, they probably would have still got me for the trial because of the cases that I had in the system. And they still had this broad, even though she turned her back and she tried to say things good on my behalf. But you dumbass bitch, you already made a statement in the beginning. So the way the DA was going to manipulate that, I was already thinking the DA going to manipulate that by saying that Sinful got people on the outside that's pumping fear in her heart, and she's afraid of basically getting killed, or she afraid of basically some physical harm coming to her, you know what I mean, if she say that, continue to say that this my pimp. So the reason why she changed her statement was out of fear for her life. That's what the DA was going to come with in trial. And they was going to try to make me into an example. So I'm looking like, okay, I could get out on parole, check the little 1 to 4, you know what I mean? Ain't got none of this kid shit and this bullshit on my motherfucking name. And I got these motherfucking felonies. I said, what are the odds of me going to a trial with a public pretender? I got these cases in the system with different ones, not the same, different women in different cases. It ain't looking too good. So my ass took the damn 1 to 4 from the front to back, you know what I mean, the category D felony, took the 1 to 4, and that's how basically I ended up at High Desert State Prison. Ended up going to Southern Desert, and I explain all that. Time moved forward, I'm explaining all the prison time, what I did while I was on the yard and all that shit. But niggas that, know me, you did time with me, you already know everything that I'm saying, it's facts because you was on the yard with me. You know the type of nigga I am. So, you know what I mean? Everybody pretty much know what I was in there for. They know the cases. And back at that time, they changed it now, but they used to have it set up where any nigga that hit the yard, once you get his ID number, you could jump on the phone and you could basically say his ID number, name, and the charges would come up or what he was convicted of, you know what I mean, in trial or a sentence or sentencing, you know what I mean? That's what's going to be shown. That's going to show whether or not, you in here for some foul shit or whatever. So, of course, you know what I mean, my shit, pander, living and earnings of prostitution. So they gave me the adult shit. I didn't have no kid shit, but at the same time, I still came out fucked up in the situation because of felonies. And not only felonies, I want to get this in you young people's minds. The reason why it's so imperative to have the game. The reason why it's so imperative that when you're around people with game, to listen, to stop being arrogant, to stop coming around people with game as if you already got the game already, to not be as stupid as Sin Ful The P was, to basically use your brain, to be swift to hear and slow to speak when the game is speaking to you, so you can learn. And you know what I mean, as time, move on, I end up getting my board or whatever. Let me show you the consequences of being stupid. No, I don't have to register as a sex offender. No, I don't have lifelong supervision on me. Yeah, they dropped the case and all that shit. Yeah, that was dropped or whatever. But let me give you the consequences. When I made my board and got out on parole, okay? I'm getting out in Vegas. I'm staying at the I'm trying to remember. I'm in the halfway house. I'm in the halfway house next to, I think they didn't shut that down, man. You know, the Riviera is it's like across the street from the Riviera. You know what I mean? Circus is around there, different places, but you know what I mean? I'm locked up, man. You know what I mean? I'm in the halfway house, man. You know what I mean? But I came out, you know what I mean, in the best shape of my life. Skin was pure and everything like that. But let me show you the consequences of being stupid and why it's so imperative for you young people that watch DVDs and you see cars, you see clothes, you see pretty little hoes and shit, but and then you have some that sometimes they speak about their case, but they tell you the good things. You know, them coming back as a giant and getting in the back, but they don't never tell you about shit that I'm about to tell you about to make you think twice about wanting to be in this game or not. Because you don't need to be no pimp. Nah, you need to leave that pimp shit alone. So check it out, right? I hit the halfway house. You know, my P partners, everybody fucking with me and shit like that. I gotta pay $1,000 a month. And check this out. I come back and you want me to come up with $1,000 a month to stay here. Cause after the 2-week period, you gotta have that $1,000 if you want to stay in there. So pretty much it's a setup for me to get involved in criminal activities to produce, you know, currency. Cause I ain't trying to go back. You know what I mean? And plus, you know what I mean? There was so many niggas that looked up to me, man, that had love for me on the yard. And I ain't trying to go back, you know what I mean, and be an embarrassment. Hell no, fuck that. So, you know what I mean? I get out and I never forget. I'm on my way actually to go see, you know what I mean, a little bride, little square that had been looking out for me. You know what I mean? And she had basically, you know what I mean, been looking out for me while I was down, you know what I mean, in the county, the pen and shit like that. Because, you know what I mean, yeah, I knocked a few little bitches, you know, while I was down. I'll get into that later. But I was going to go try to go spend time with the little bride and see what I could charge her for and all that, right? But as I'm getting ready to cross the street, you know, the light changed. So that when the police see me, it appears that I'm jaywalking. Now, those of you that's from Chicago, you don't even understand the language that I'm speaking because in Chicago, nigga, we walk across the street. You know what I mean? We walk across the street, nigga, when cars is coming, nigga. We come across the street, nigga, when we want to come across the street, nigga. So, you know, when I cross the street, they sit up there, man, and come around me, you know what I mean? They pull over and shit like that. They come right around me. And, you know what I mean? They put it out there, you know what I mean? Stand right there. Come here. So I come see what it's about. And they say, yeah, you jaywalking. Because, you know, in Vegas, man, you get arrested for jaywalking. They going to put your ass in jail for jaywalking. Hold on. They going to put your ass in jail, you know what I mean, for jaywalking, right? So, you know, my charges. Now, keep in mind, you remember my deal, right? Remember when Sin signed that 1-4? Leave the situation. You know what I'm saying? Just with pandering and living on the earnings of prostitution. Basically no kid shit. And the other cases get dropped. And they acted like they was doing me a favor. But the truth is they ain't had that broad no more. But, you know, they always try to make it seem like they blessing you. They don't give a fuck about you. But anyway, they looking up, you know what I mean, my criminal history. Now, remind you now, I took the deal for 1-4 with none of that bullshit on my name. The officer comes up and he said, you supposed to register as a sex offender. I was like, man, I ain't supposed to register as no motherfucking sex offender, man. You got me fucked up. That's my, you know, natural reaction. He's like, no, I don't got you fucked up. You know what I mean? But you fucked up for not registering as a sex offender. You got pandering and you got living on the earnings of prostitution. See, at that time, I did not know that they were making pandering, you know what I mean, this pimping shit, a damn sex crime, no matter what the age of the bride is. So here I am now thinking that maybe the DA pulled a slick one on me by saying, yeah, you know, no kid shit. Yeah, no kid shit. but you said I had to register as no offender. You know what I mean? But the way the police is explaining it, they saying, no, it don't matter about all that. You know what I mean? You supposed to register as a sex offender. You got pandering and living under earnings of prostitution on your name. You supposed to be registering as a sex offender. We don't care if the bride is 90 or whatever. You supposed to be registering as a sex offender. You just committed a sex crime and you was convicted for it. So they ended up taking me, they put me up in the police car, you know what I mean? I was arrested for that, you know what I mean? For not registering as a sex offender. And nigga, I was gonna stay getting arrested there. Y'all was gonna put me, you know what I mean, in hell or whatever the fuck you was gonna try to put me in, nigga. I ain't about to sit up there and sign as no sex offender, nigga. You got me fucked up. So, you know, as time move on, the little parole officer, you know, come through, and me and the parole officer, this bitch ain't like me anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep it all the way 100, I'm calling him a bitch, but he ain't like me no way. You know what I'm saying? He ain't like me for some reason. Female COs, female officers, you know, everybody different. My experiences are different. You know, my experiences with the female officers, they pigs too, but you know what I mean? The females really wasn't like the dudes. The dudes was always like trying to be, you know what I mean, over the top. You know what I mean? And he was one of them over the top motherfuckers. Like, yeah, man, you supposed to scratch your head, nigga, at 303. It says right here. Then you was supposed to piss this way. It says, he was one of them motherfuckers. So, you know what I mean? We sitting up there talking. I was like, yeah, they arrested me. And they said that I was supposed to register as a sex offender. I'm not registering as a sex offender because it's stipulated within the deal that I don't have to register as no damn sex offender. I'm not no sex offender. And he said, well, I don't know what they told you, but pandering is a sex crime. And even though you did time for an adult, guess what? It's still a sex crime and you still need to register. So if you're not willing to register, you're going back to prison. I'm going back to prison. You got to send me back to High Desert, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You got to send me to the pen, nigga. I ain't about to register as no sex offender. See, when you a respected nigga, you know what I'm saying, in the streets, and you got love, you know what I mean, from the streets by being who the fuck you said you was in the streets and not doing no snitching, not doing playing with these kids, not sitting over there doing some, you know, just some foul shit, you can't register no sex offender, bro. And I'm not shitting on, because I know some niggas, let me make this plain, because I know some of my partners, some of these niggas gonna sit up there and, you know, see this. I'm not shitting on nobody, because like I said, I know some older P's, young P's, and yes, they had to register as sex offenders, and they didn't even have minors. Some did, and they got to register as a sex offender. I'm not registering no sex offender. So when I went back, of course, you know what I mean, God was merciful to me. You know what I mean? Of course, you know, they got the paperwork, you know, which I showed in the video, you know, I spoke, you know, earlier on Facebook, but, you know, it was put out there. I don't got to register, and I don't have to register. I ain't gonna never register, even if y'all was saying I did. It is what a motherfucking is. But now, you know what I mean? I went back to court, and we had to go back to court. And I got everything taken care of, got my paperwork. Once I got my paperwork, then everything was fixed. But see the bullshit that I had to go through with the embarrassment of talking to them officers? You don't want to go through what I went through. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to put yourself in that type of, you know, situation. You know what I mean? You ain't got to sit up there and do that. Like I said, you get on Instagram, you young people get on Facebook. Some of y'all love my videos, and that's cool. But some of you really don't have the capabilities. Now, I do got to keep that 100. When I got out the pen, y'all been watching my videos. You know what the mentality I came back with. I didn't come back married. I didn't come back looking for no wife. I didn't come back looking for no religion. My decision was still pimping. So, you know what I mean? Some like it. A few, you know, in love with it. Good, bad, trials, tribulations, bad situations, incarceration, you know what I mean, period. And that's one of the main reasons why I did not play with God, you know, or anything while I was locked up, I wouldn't tell God or join a religion because I knew if y'all had let me out of prison at that time, nigga, I was going to go back and pimp. You know how that used to fuck me up being in CCDC, nigga, and I used to have to look out into the window and I used to be able to see the strip. That used to make me cry as a young P, man. You know what I mean? It used to really sit up there and fuck with my mind that it's some old young, fine-ass bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's just some little young bitch right now that's 24 motherfucking years old, fresh from Atlanta, fresh from Minnesota, you know what I mean? Fresh from, you know what I mean, from Iowa. And she just got out of a relationship. She's 24 years old. She quit her little job. And now she about to sit up there and choose up with the weed man or the gangbanger simply because real pimping is locked up and fucked up. Man, that shit used to mess me up all the time. And like I said, you don't want to put yourself in that situation. Hold on. I told y'all when I'm live, don't call me. If you text me, it better be an emergency or something important. I'll deal with people later. But yeah, man, you know what I mean? You don't want to deal with what I had to deal with. I don't want none of you young people dealing with what I had to deal with. Because another thing, let me show you this. People will treat an allegation like it was a conviction, even after seeing your paperwork. Even after seeing that you don't got to register, even seeing that the bride said that she lied to you and you basically, you know what I mean, you didn't know the age or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Squares. Oh, this nigga a monster. This nigga, he's a pimp. Wait a minute, let me read you. Because if you look at the allegations that I had, you see robbery. You see domestic violence. You see, of course, now you only see pandering and living on earnings of prostitute. But as far as the allegation, the charges that I had, you know what I mean? All the charges that I had in this game, I done had charges for robbery. I done had charges for domestic violence, charges for pandering, earnings of prostitution, living out the earnings of prostitution, transportation to prostitution, child endangerment, sexual assault, sexual seduction. You know what I mean? All of that shit. And I had to endure all of that shit. Then another thing that you're going to have to endure, niggas that don't even know you or bitches that don't even know you or, you know what I mean, never was even blessed to say anything really with you, not even blessed to have a conversation with you, but because of them allegations, they going to try to make it a conviction. And when you get into a roasting, they're going to try to use that allegation within the conversation to sit up there and assassinate your character. And if you're not governed by the spirit of pimping, if you don't mentally respond instead of emotionally react, you might fuck around and kill somebody for trying to assassinate your name. Try to paint you into this monster. Oh, domestic violence. Oh, and anybody that watched the video, I explained that. Oh, this nigga hit on bitches. Nigga, what? Sexual assault, sexual seduction. Nigga, you out here fucking with kids, pandering. This old lazy ass nigga, he pimping on bitches. You living out the earnings of bitch. So if you look at somebody's movie and you only seen scenes of the movie and you haven't seen it in totality, you gonna judge that movie by the scenes that you see. Just like some of you have gotten in my videos in times past and said, saying you a stand-up dude, I like you, but what's going on with you and Gorgeous Dre? How could you look up to somebody like that? How could you say that's your big brother from another mother? And, you know, one day I might have Dre sit up there, man, and break things down to y'all, but anybody that, you know, only know Dre from American Pimp, of course you looked at that film and you thought that Dre did time for a kid. But just like mine, that case was dropped. Dre never did time in the feds for no damn child. He did time basically for tax evasion, money laundering. That's what he did, nigga. It was money laundering. It wasn't nothing with no kid. That was dropped. But because of the allegation, and it was a case and all of that, people are trying to assassinate your character. You know what I mean? So, you know, all of this, like, you hang with sex offenders, and he not no sex offender, bitch. He ain't got to register as no sex offender. He ain't got no lifelong supervision. I'm going to keep it real. I ain't going to put nobody out there, but a lot of motherfuckers that people look up to in the game, a lot of them niggas have to register as sex offenders. I don't. And Gorgeous Dre don't either. Real nigga gonna sit up there. That's just my opinion. I ain't shitting on nobody. If you want to sit up there, P, if you feel offended, you can call me. We can talk about it. But that's just me. If you ever been a reputable street nigga, a Blood, a Crip, a GD, BD, Blackstone, Vice Lord, you know, or just a regular neutron. Maybe you was just a neutron and you respected in the streets. You are who you say you are in the streets. You can't register as no sex offender. I don't give a fuck if they is telling you that you're going to get parole, that you're going to be out. You can't register as no sex offender. Real nigga ain't going to register as no sex offender. He just can't register, man. You're not going to do that because when you register as a sex offender, you can't go around your kids. You can't, it's different tiers, I believe, or whatever. I don't know how that shit go, but you can't go to the park. You might not be able to go to church. You know what I mean? Because there's kids there. You know what I mean? I want you young people, man, to think about what you signing. You know what I mean? Like I said, I knew so many out of the lifestyle of pimping and hoeing. They wasn't pimps and hoes. I knew a young nigga, man, that I loved dearly, man. He from schoolyard. And, you know what I mean? I had so much love for this little nigga, but it was so fucked up because he took a fucked up deal because the lawyer ain't give a fuck about him. The lawyer manipulated him into signing this deal. He robbed a 7-Eleven, like I told you niggas in my last video. Majority of the niggas that was walking the yard because of a bitch. Whether it was miss pimping, no pimping, boyfriend, husband, man, it was like, damn, I want to say I might be doing too little by saying 80%. But majority of the niggas that was walking the yard, it was really over a bitch. Like, that young nigga, he couldn't get a job, so what he did to impress his girl was rob a 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? He was trying to rob a 7-Eleven so he can have some money to impress his girl. You know what I mean? And it didn't work out for him. And because of him, nobody got shot. You know what I mean? He acted like he got a gun. He didn't have a gun, but he acted like he had a gun. And he still ended up getting 7 years out of that. Hold on. What I want y'all to do, because in a minute I'm getting ready to end this, and I'm going to end up coming back to do another live. And I want everybody, if you're not going to be busy, I want you to come back. You know what I mean? I want you to come back, and I'm going to allow everybody and anybody to call in. Whether you got something positive or negative to say, you know what I mean? I could care less. Call in and give me your opinion, give me your thoughts, squares, niggas that's authentic and really in it as far as the game is concerned. Make sure you call in. I'm going to answer everybody questions pertaining to my case, pertaining to basically allegations of, you know what I mean, of other cases that I've had, anything, you know what I mean? But that had to be put out there, not just basically for, you know, haters, you know what I mean, misrepresenting and getting into some evangelism with criticism on my motherfucking name, but it had to be put out there simply because, you know what I mean, I don't want anybody to repeat my history. And when you niggas, young niggas coming in this game, you ain't got no mentor, you ain't got no big brother, you ain't got no father that's an active pimp or retired pimp, you ain't got no pimps in your family, you don't know no pimps as a pimp friend, you know what I mean, and you basically really just coming in this shit by yourself, it ain't looking too good. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how much college education that you have, always remember that that bitch that you presiding over is your weakest link. So you can have a Harvard University education. You can have mental capabilities that's a famine among the male population. But just keeping it 100 at the end of the day, you still minimized by your weakest link, which is the bitch. You know what I mean? And in my case, I'm not blaming. I even spoke to the broad that snitched on me after I got out. She came back up with crocodile tears. I don't know how that bitch got my number, but she did. And she called trying to give me some money. Let me say this before I go. She called trying to give me some money. And at that time, Real P's that was around me, you already know I'm not lying. And at that time, she had a little bit of 50,000. Now watch this. During the time that I was locked up, my grandmother died. My grandmother was my best friend. Everybody know me. My mother and my grandmother was like this to me. Them was my queens. And you know what I mean? My grandmother passed while I was locked up. But God, let me show you how merciful God is towards me. God loved me so much that the first time that I got out on parole, before I got violated, God allowed me to see my grandmother. God allowed me to see my grandmother. I got a chance to sit with my grandmother at bedside because she was dying of cancer. And see, let me say this to you. When you going through this bullshit and you don't take care of your business, you ain't presiding over your money correctly, you put so much pressure, unnecessary pressure on your square ass family. And that's what Philip Brandon Gilmore, Sin Ful The P, did. I put all the pressure on them, not to get the money, but just the fact of, because, you know, no matter how old you get and what you done in them streets, you still gonna be little Philip. You know what I mean? And that's what I was to them. And I put all of that pressure on them. And my grandmother, still to this day, I still blame myself for my grandmother. Because I feel like what I did as far as getting in the game and the mispimping and no pimping that I did that caused me to be locked up and fucked up, that made my grandmother accelerate to her expiration date before the appointed time. Because you got to understand, my grandmother came to visit me. And I was losing weight, I was losing weight. I lost so much weight. I came in the county at 255. By that time, Grandma came to see me. I was losing weight like this. Plus, I like being up in the hole because, you know, anybody been locked up in the hole in CCDC, you get to talk to the broads, you know what I'm saying, up in the vents. So by me being able to sing and, you know, having conversation and personality, I love being in the hole because I get to talk in the vents because the little bitches was in the vents and give me an opportunity to knock a bitch, hopefully a hoe, you know what I mean, because she might go out there. So I did not give a fuck about them putting me in the hole. But when my grandmother came to see me, at that time, I was every bit of 181 pounds. And because I'm seeing nothing but cuts, you know what I mean? You see a nigga that's down there, you know what I mean? You see a motherfucker that's 6'2", you see a motherfucker that's 6'2", 181 pounds, you know what I mean, at that time, he's skin and bones. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean, at that time, man, I'm thinking I'm in the best shape of my life. When my grandmother see me, she said, Philip, they not feeding you? I said, yeah, you know what I mean, I'm good. You know what I mean, I got store, you know what I mean, I'm knocking, you know what I mean? And I mean, don't you see me? You know, she said, yeah, it look like they not feeding you. And she's skinny as all outdoors, but she tell me they not feeding me. So she broke down and cried. You know, and of course the men in your family, they like, boy, you know, especially squares, they like, man, look what the fuck you doing, nigga. You in the streets fucking up. Nigga, you really the black sheep of the family, nigga. Like, you just a piece of shit. But anyway, make a long story short, you know what I mean, that really put a toll on her. That put a lot of weight on my grandmother to see, you know what I mean, her grandchild, you know what I mean, in jail like that. And because of that type of pressure, yes, I believe that made her accelerate to her expiration date before her time. So I always blame myself for the death of my best friend because, you know, it's appointed unto a man once to die. And then the judgment, as Hebrews 9:27 said, but, you know, you can die before your time. And by her being so in love with me like I was her own son, that put a lot of pressure on my grandmother and definitely put a lot of pressure on my mother. So I'm saying this to you young people who still got a living mother, still got a living grandmother, still got a good family, still got loved ones and things like that. Don't put yourself in a situation where your family fucked off. You know what I mean? They mad at you. You know what I mean? Upset at you. You know what I mean? They don't know what to do. They don't got the money to bail you out. They got to put up the house. They got to put up this car. They might have to sell something that's an antique in the family to try to get your bail money. Take care of your motherfucking business. I'm not encouraging any of y'all to be in the street, but if you're going to be in the street, at least endeavor to take care of your business, man. Get you a paid lawyer, man. Keep the bondsman paid. Have some money set aside that don't nobody know about. Take care of your business so you don't have to sit up there and be in the conditions and circumstances that I once was in. All right, man, it's 8:20. Right now, I'll probably be back at 9:30. So that's an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to be back here in 70 minutes. And when you guys come back, make sure that, you're ready with your questions. Please don't come out with 15 and 20, life stories. Because I know a lot of y'all going to call in because you got similar situations. You didn't have similar cases or whatever, and God was merciful to you. The game was good to you. You ain't got to register as no sex offender. You ain't got to do none of that. And what I will say, let me give some instructions. If you was, because I don't want you to call me, incriminating yourselves. Watch what you say over the phone. I could speak freely about that case because that case is done with. You guys can look it up, and read everything that I said in the video, and it's right there. But, it's done with. But those of you that have cases right now in the system, don't call incriminating yourselves. All right, man, it's 8:21. Like I said, I'll be back at 9:30. I'm going to open up the phone lines and allow you guys to call in. Make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you share it. It was so much vital information conveyed in here. I poured my soul out to you guys, man. I gave you my case front to back. I told you how stupid I was. I told you how dumb I was. And I'm trying to prevent you from being the dumb motherfucker that I was, man. You know what I mean? That was in 2008, April the 17th. April the 17th of 2008, I was arrested. I was locked up and fucked up. 23 at the time. Been in the game, at the time in 10 months. Didn't even have a full year and was locked up. Facing life sentences. Facing life. When you count all them 35 to life, 35 to life, 15 to life, 15 to life, pandering over here. You got 1 to 4 over here, 1 to 4 over here, 1 to 4 over there, 1 to 10 over there. It was looking like I was never going to get out. Don't put yourself in them situations. I love y'all. Be blessed. Hopefully y'all come back and fuck with me at 9:30. Have your questions ready. Have your statements ready. And be sensitive. Another thing. When you call in, make sure that you wait after the phone call. Do not call me waiting while I'm talking to somebody. You know what I mean? While I'm talking to somebody, don't call in. Wait till after the phone call is over and then call in, all right? I love y'all, man. I'll see y'all later. Stay blessed.